The Project Gutenberg ebook of the Botanist's Repository for New and Rare Plants, Volume 07 of 10. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. Title: The Botanist's Repository for New and Rare Plants, Volume 07 of 10. Author: Active 1799 to 1828. Henry Cranke. Andrews. Release date: April 10, 2024. Ebook number 73371. Language: English. Original publication: London. The author: 1797. Credits: Chuck Grief and the online distributed proofreading team at https://www.pgdp.net. This file was produced from images generously made available by Biodiversity Heritage Library. Start of the Project Gutenberg ebook. The Botanist's Repository for New and Rare Plants, Vol. 07 of 10. Index to the plants contained in Vol. 7. Errata Vol. 7. Volume 7 of the Botanist's Repository, comprising colored engravings of new and rare plants only with botanical descriptions and C in Latin and English, after the Linnean system. By H. Andrews, botanical painter engraver, and CPG1 PG2 plate Uchtherseeth. Agave americana. Great American Aloe. Class 6. Order Ihexandria monogenea. 6 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character: Calyx nullus. Corolla monopetala, sexpartita. Stamina sina, Corolla longora. Germen infirm. Stylus longer staminibus. Capsula trilocularis, trivalvus. Semina numerosa. Impalement none. Blossom 1-petaled, 6-parted. Chives 6, longer than the blossom. Seed bud beneath. Shaft longer than the chives. Capsule 3-celled, 3-valved. Seeds many. Specific character: Agave, Acaulis, folius dentatis, spinosus, scapo e medio ramoso, floribus terminalibus in umbellus densissime capitatis, tubo coralli laet viridi, e medio angustato, staminibus corolla longoribus, stylo staminibus longor. Agave, without a stem, leaves toothed and thorny, flower stem in the center branched, the flowers terminate the branches in close-headed umbels, the tube of the blossom is greenish, and narrowed in the center, the chives are longer than the flowers, and the style longer than the chives. Reference to the plate. 1. A plant in miniature. 2. A flower natural size. 3. The same spread open. 4. Seed bud cut transversely. 5. The end of a leaf, the upper part scraped to show its thready fibers. This tall and stately plant has ever been regarded, in this country, as an object of sufficient interest and curiosity to merit an exposure in the form of an exhibition, whilst in the southern parts of Spain and Portugal they are so abundant as to form hedges, by way of barriers to repress the inroads of cattle. There are several very slight varieties, one of whose leaves are edged with yellow, but the same in every other respect. Miller enumerates one whose paniculated flowers bear a very different aspect. Cortusus is said to be the first European that possessed this great aloe, about the year 1561, in 1714 two flowered at Hampton Court, and one at the Duke of Buckingham's. At Frederiksberg, in Denmark, one flowered with 19 branches and 4,000 flowers, and one in the King of Prussia's garden, said to be 40 feet high. They are now more frequently found in bloom, as rarely a year passes without one or more of them being advertised for public inspection. In addition to their grand exterior, they possess many useful properties. Cavanillus, in his Natural History of Valentia, mentions their abundance, and the numbers of people employed in manufacturing them, for, when bruised, separated, and steeped in water, they yield a strong thread, of which all the bags are made in which dollars are imported. The juice of the leaves is said to be used as a succedaneum for soap, and the spongy substance of the stem for tinder. The points of the leaves are by the Indians made use of to head their arrows, whose hard consistence is a good substitute for iron, and the thready character of their fibers furnishes all that is necessary to fasten them. Linnaeus has separated this genus from aloe, from the extension of the stamens and style beyond the corolla, and the resting of the corolla on the germ. They also differ in growth, as all agaves have their central leaves closely infoliating and embracing the flower stem, which, forming in the center, never appears till they are expanded. It then proceeds with a rapidity that in a few weeks reaches maturity, and when the flowers are past the plant dies. On the contrary, the flower stem of the aloe comes out from the side annually from the same plant. Our figure was made from 2 plants at Kensington Gore, each bearing 2,000 flowers, and about 70 years old, belonging to J. Vere, Esq, who perfectly recollects them for above half a century, but in those warmer climes, where they are so abundant, 25 or 30 years are sufficient to bring them to perfection. Pg 3 Pg 4 Plate Uchther Siv. Pultenia nana. Dwarf Pultenia. Class X Order Idacandria monogenea. 10 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx quinquedentatus, Utrinque appendiculatus. Corolla papilionacea, Alice vexillobrevuribus, legumen uniloculare, dispermum. Cup 5-toothed, with a hanging prop on each side. Blossom butterfly shaped, the wings shorter than the standard. A one-celled pod, 2-seeded. Specific character. Pultenia, Folius iliciformibus, undulates, contortus, rigides, acutus, floribus mini-icolor, axillaribus, racemoses. Caulis humilis. Pultenia, with holly-shaped leaves, waved, twisted, harsh, and sharp-pointed. Flowers minium-colored, growing from the insertion of the leaves in longish bunches. Stem low. Reference to the plate. 1. The cup, with its appendages. 2. The standard of the blossom. 3. One of the wings of the same. 4. The 2 leaves which form the keel. 5. The chives magnified. 6. The pointal, natural size. 7. The same magnified. 8. A ripe seed pod. 9. The same spread open. 10. A ripe seed. This lively little dwarf Pultenia we have not as yet seen anywhere but in the conservatory of G. Hibbert, Esq, where, contrasted with many large magnificent plants, its minute and diminutive form made a perfectly unique appearance. When we first observed it, its height did not exceed 1.5 inches. Our figure represents the whole plant, which for 6 months was in progressive constant bloom, and after flowering ripened its seeds freely, an evident proof of the plant being in a state of perfection. It is now 3 months since the plant perfected its seeds, during which period we have not perceived the least increase in its size. But, notwithstanding this apparent torpidity, it is now exhibiting the buds of its future blossoms. It has been imagined by some to be the charisma of billardier, a new plant found by that gentleman in New South Wales whilst in search of the unfortunate Loperouse, but, upon comparing it with the figure in that work, we do not find a sufficient resemblance to induce us to regard it as the same plant. Pg5 Pg6 Plate CCCCXXXV. Verbena mutabilis. Changeable flowered vervain. Class 2. Order I Diandria monogenea. 2 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla infundibuliformis, subequalus, cava. Calyx unifoliatus, dentatus, truncatus. SEM2, S4. Muda. Stem. 2, S4. Blossom funnel-shaped, nearly equal, and curved. Impalement one-leafed, toothed, and cut off. Seeds 2, sometimes 4, naked. Chives 2, sometimes 4. Specific character. Verbena diandra, Filamenta quachu or, Spica longissima, carnosa, nuda, folius ovatis, basi productis, dentatis, scabrous, villosus, floribus imprimis coccinis, denici incarnatus, call fruticoso. Verbena, with 2 chives and 4 filaments. Flower spike very long, fleshy, and naked. Leaves ovate, lengthened at the base, toothed, rough, and hairy. Flowers at first scarlet, then going off in a flesh color. Stem shrubby. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A flower cut open. 3. Seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. The native place of the Verbena mutabilis seems rather enveloped in obscurity, by some it is supposed to be indigenous to Peru. It is a beautiful plant, and the most desirable verbena we are acquainted with, as it is at least 6 months in successive bloom. It is one of those verbenas that, differing a little from the general character of that genus, has received various titles from different botanists. By Professor Vall, in his Enumeratio Plantarum, it is called Stachytarfeta. The present species has been recently figured in the Paradisus londinensis under the title of Cimbrus mutabilis, and probably at some future period it may again receive another title, but until we can find some better path to lead us into the open plain or information, we shall keep jogging on in the old beaten track, in preference to every crooked turning that may bewilder us into the mazy labyrinth of affected science. Our figure was made from a fine plant in the nursery of Messrs. Colville PG7 PG8 Plate UC 30. Corea viridiflora. Green-flowered Corea. Class 8. Order Ioctandria monogenea. 8 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx monophyllus, quadridentatus. Corolla petala quachu or. Stamina octo. Germen superum. Capsula quadrilocularis. Semina quachu or. Impalement one-leafed, 4-toothed. Blossom 4-petaled. 8 chives. Seed bud above. Capsule 4 cells, and 4 seeds. Specific character. Corea, folius oblonges, oppositus, undulates, stellatum hirsutis, supraviridibus, subtus ferrugineus, folius junioribus conniventibus, flores dum parvos obscurantibus, qui postea emergunt ex axilis foliorum, et dependent. Corolla virides, levator punctata, petalis adherentibus in forma cylindrica. Rami oppositae, ferruginei. Corea, with oblong opposite leaves, waved, and beset with divers star-like specks, green on the upper surface and rusty beneath. The younger leaves connive together, and obscure the flowers when young, which afterwards emerge from the axilla of the leaves, and hang down. Blossom green, and lightly dotted, the petals adhering in the form of a tube. The branches are opposite, and rusty. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom detached from the cup. 3. A flower spread open. 4. One of the longest chives. 5. One of the shorter ones. 6. Seed bud and pointal. 7. Seed bud magnified. This green-flowered Corea is by no means so desirable a plant as the alba, but is the only addition to this genus as yet in cultivation with us, and as such deserving notice. It has been already figured in the exotic botany of Dr. Smith, but very imperfectly, as it is there represented with only 2 divisions in the corolla instead of 4, and 6 antherae instead of 8, a deficiency we have not met with, and although we have examined a number of living and dried specimens, yet we have always found it perfect in those characters essential to the genus. The only variation we have ever observed has been sometimes a superabundance of petals in the corolla, instead of a deficiency, 5 instead of 4, a frequent occurrence in many genera when the plant is in a state of luxuriant growth, and certainly little illustration, but much confusion, might probably arise from giving a figure from any specimen so very defective. We find this genus published by Billardier under the title Masiotoxeron, our present figure under the specific of Rufum, an excellent specific, were it not a striking feature in every species of this genus, living or dried, that we have as yet seen. Our figure was made from a plant in the collection of G. Hibbert, ESQ PG9 PG10 plate UC30I. Protea canaliculata. Channeled-leaved Protea. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antherae linears, petalis infraapicem incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the ends. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea, folias canaliculates, incurvates, rigides, linearibus, acutus, floribus purpurace, terminalibus, call rubro. Protea, with channeled leaves, incurved, harsh, linear, and sharp-pointed, flowers purple, and terminating the branches, stem red. Reference to the plate. 1 of the scales of the impalement. 2 the chives magnified. 3 seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. This fine Protea is of recent introduction, within the last 4 or 5 years, from the Cape of Good Hope to the gardens of G. Hibbert, ESQ. From the particular strong channel on the back of its leaves we have adopted its specific title, and have no doubt that a feature so visible in every stage of the plant will always discriminate it. The leaves are enlivened by such brilliant red stalks, as, in addition to its flower, render it an attractive object, nor is it so difficult to preserve as many of them are, for the greatest of care is requisite to preserve numbers of this fine tribe from the damps of this island, an enemy they are so little accustomed to in their native clime. PG11 PG12 plate UC38. Protea speciosa. Showy Protea. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antherae linears, petalis infraapices incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Sem solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea, folias lanceolates, obliquus, pilosus, undulates, squames calicinis superioribus, lanceolates, barbates, lutioalbes, squames infralato ovates, tomentoses, barbates, apis discoloratis, callus erectus, triptalis. Protea, with leaves lance-shaped, oblique, hairy, and waved. The upper scales of the impalement are lance-shaped, bearded, and of a yellowish white. The scales beneath are broadly ovate, downy, bearded, and discolored towards the ends. Stem erect, and 3 feet high. Reference to the plate. 1. A blossom, the petals spread to show the situation of the chives. 2. The seed bud and pointle. This fine large protea we believe is not at present in any other collection in Europe, but that of G. Hibbert, Esq. It is enumerated in the Hortus Cuensis under the name of Protea speciosa, but the plant itself has been long lost to those gardens. Thunberg, in his dissertation on Protea, describes our plant exactly, under the appellation of speciosa, and, that no doubt might remain with respect to the specific adopted, our figure has been compared with a remarkable fine specimen in the herbarium of A. B. Lambert, Esq., sent by Dr. Roxburgh from the Cape of Good Hope under the title of Protea speciosa of Hottentot Island. It is undoubtedly one of the grandest of this fine section of Protea, for as a section of this numerous family it will always be better understood than it can possibly be as a discriminative specific. This extended tribe will, we think, admit of at least 4 or 5 partitions, but not generic divisions, for we can by no means agree with those who think every slight variation of sufficient consequence to form new genera, and in this genus think it more objectionable than in any other. The title of Protea being derived from the god Proteus of ever-varying form, the more removed this tribe of plants are in their externa facie from each other, so much the better do they support their mythologic title pg 13 pg 14 plate Ucther 6. Staplia orbicularis. Orbicular Staplia. Class V Order 2. Pentandria digynia. 5 chives. 2 pointals. Generic character. Calyx. Perianthium quinquefidum, acudum, parvum, persistans. Corolla. Monopetala, crassa, quinquefida, acuta, cont orta. Nectaria duplicia, stelliformia, superior genitalia tangent. Stamina subsessilia, ad nectarium adherentia. Antheri bifidi. Pistilla. Germina duo, oblongata, acuminata. Styli duo, subulati. Stigma utroque commune, magnum, crassum, pentagonum. Pericarpium. Folliculi duo, uniloculares, univalves. Semina numerosa, papocoronata. Impalement. Cup 5 cleft, sharp, small, and remaining. Blossom 1-petaled, thick, 5-parted, pointed, and twisted. Honeycups double and star-like, the upper nectary hiding the parts of fructification. Chives nearly sessile, and attached to the nectary. Tips 2 cleft. Pointal. Seed buds 2, oblong, and tapered. Shafts 2, all shaped. Summit common to both, large, thick, and 5-cornered. Seed vessel. 2 pods, 1 cellid, 1 valved. Seeds numerous, and crowned with a feather. Specific character. Staplia orbicularis, ramus pluribus, erectopatentibus, tetragones, dentatis, corales quinquefides, in medio orbiculates, densissime punctatus, lacinius cordatis, rugosus, striatis, fuscatus. Staplia with orbicular flowers, branches numerous, erect and spreading, 4-sided, and toothed, blossom 5 cleft, rounded in the center, and closely dotted, segments of the border are heart-shaped, wrinkled, and striped with brown. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement, nectaries, chives, and pointals. 2. The nectaries, chives, and pointals, magnified. 3. A section of the above, magnified. 4. The same shown in a side direction, to expose the situation of the chives. 5. The seed buds, shafts, and summit. This perfectly new Staplia we have not met with in any other collection but that of Messrs. Lodge, from whom we received it under the title of orbicularis, a specific derived from the circular center of the flower, a very discriminative appellation, and, although not exclusively the character of this species, is much more distinctly marked in this plant than in any other we have as yet seen. Upon comparing our figure with 41 species described and figured by Mr. F. Masson, not any affinity could be discerned powerful enough to render a reference by any means requisite. There is a somber appearance annexed to almost all the flowers of this most curious tribe, and they more resemble pieces of mechanism than the vegetable productions of nature. They require but little water in summer, and still less in winter, should be carefully sheltered from rain and frost, and they will succeed very well, and are easily propagated by slips from the joints, but very rarely seed in this country. Natives of the Cape of Good Hope, and are called Staplias after a Dutch botanist of the name of Staple pg 15 pg 16 plate CCCCXL. Sephora sericea. Silky-leaved Sephora. Class X, Order Idecandria monogenea. 10 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx quinquedentatus, superngibus. Corolla papillonacea, Alice longitudine vexilli. Pericarpium, legumen. Impalement 5-toothed, the upper ones gibbose, or gouty. Blossom butterfly-shaped, with the wings the length of the standard. Seed vessel, a pod. Specific character. Sephora, Folias serices, oblonges, alternates, Pilomolissimo lucido aminotectes, Apis acutus, revolutus, ad basin stipules parvis, Floribus implicibus, axillaribus, pallid purpurace, Caulis argenteus. Sephora with silky leaves, oblong, alternate, and entirely covered by a very soft shining hair, sharp-pointed, and rolled back, with small stipulae at their base. Flowers grow singly from the axillae of the leaves, and of a pale purple, stem silvery. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. The standard. 3. One of the wings. 4. The keel. 5. The chives and pointal. 6. The same magnified. 7. Seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. This delicate Sephora may literally be said to be an old plant with a new face, as we have been long familiar with the foliage, but entirely unacquainted with its flowers, till very lately we found it in luxuriant bloom, and we believe for the first time in this country, in the conservatory of G. Hibbert, Esq. this month, December, probably not the regular period of its inflorescence, but the effect of casualty assisted by the uncommon mildness of the season. It would be a vain endeavor to attempt to do justice to the beautiful shining silky appearance of the leaves, and when aided by its delicate purple flowers, its attraction is equal, if not superior, to any of the genus. The want of freedom in its flowering is a defect not entirely confined to this species only, but is in some degree attached to most Sephoras. It is a native of the Cape of Good Hope, and requires as much air as can with safety be administered to it in this country. pg 17 pg 18 plate Uxley. Epidendrum fuscatum. Brown-flowered epidendrum. Class XX. Order Igenandria diandria. Chives on the pointals. 2 chives. Essential generic character. Nectarium turbinatum, obliquum, refl exum. Honeycup top-shaped, oblique, and reflexed. CPL 13. Volume I Epidendrum cochletum. Specific character. Epidendrum, Folius lanceolates, column vagina alternatagentibus, contortus, atropurpureo discoloratis, floribus umbulatis terminalibus fuscatus, levator punctatus, vel striatis. Epidendrum, with lance-shaped leaves, alternately sheathing the stem, twisted, and discolored with a deep purple. Flowers terminate the branches in umbels, of a brownish color, dotted or striped. Reference to the plate. 1. The nectary, or honey cup. 2. The blossom detached. 3. The seed bud, chives, and pointle, the hood lifted up that covers the chives. 4. The same magnified. Amongst this numerous parasitic tribe there are many whose claim to beauty is by no means powerful, and certainly the present figure has little to boast of in that particular, but the singular and curious structure of their flowers will always render every new species and even distinct varieties desirable, particularly as they are an essential connecting link in the interesting family of the Orchidaea. We were at first inclined to regard it as the effuscatum of Dr. Smith on rare plants, but on comparison with that figure we found it in foliage nearly the same, but so different both in the size and color of its flowers, that, if it might be regarded as a variety, it must certainly be a very distinct one. It is a native of Jamaica, and as such requires the protection of the stove. From a plant plunged in the tan bed our drawing was made at the gardens of G. Hibbert, ESQ PG 19 PG 20 Plate Uxlii. Protea pulchula, various speciosa. Waved-leaved Protea, speciosa variety. Class 4. Order I Tetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Sem solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea, folius lanceolates, undulates, rubro-marginatis, pilosus, squamous calycis tricolor-atis, capitulo erecto, terminally, col ramoso, bipedally. Protea, with lance-shaped leaves, waved, margined with red, and hairy, scales of the cup three-colored, flower head upright, and terminal, stem branching, and 2 feet high. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement and chives. 2. Seed bud and pointle. Our figure represents so evident a variation of the Protea pulchula, that it probably should be only regarded as a fine large flowering variety, but as it exhibits a strong affinity in the flowers to that fine section of Protea called speciosa, it is certainly better to denominate it a variety of that species, than to adhere too closely to the appellation of its original, whose specific is of too indiscriminative a character to be adopted any further than the acceptation of it already may have rendered necessary. The only method to avoid confusion in this extended varying tribe in future, will be to make as few species as possible in addition to those already made, unless they can be founded upon some apparent leading feature in the plant. Our drawing was made from the Hibbertian collection PG 21 PG 22 Plate Uxlien. Erythrina speciosa. Showy erythrina. Class 17. Order 4. Diadelphia decandria. Chives in 2 sets. 10 chives. Generic character. Calyx. Perianthium monophyllum, integrum, tubulosum, or superni marginatum, infern pores melliferus instructum. Corolla. Papilionacea. Vexillum lanceolatum, lateribus deflexum, adscendens, longissimum. Ali subovitae, calice vix longores, extra tubum vexilli vix eminence, minimi. Carina recta, longitudinalarum, dipetala, emarginata. Stamina. Filamenta diadelpha, Filamenta de cm, infern conida, param incurva, longitudine dimiti I vexilli, inequalia, sagittata. Pistillum. German pedicellidum, subulatum, attenuatum in stylum subulatum, longitudine stamenum. Stigma terminal, simplex. Pericarpium. Legumen longissimum, ac seminis nondum tumitis acuminate terminatum, uniloculare. Seminareniformia. Obse herbaceous staminibus de cm distinctus. Impalement. Cup 1-leafed, entire, and tubular, emarginated on the upper part, the part beneath with little pores containing honey. Blossom. Butterfly-shaped. Standard lance-shaped, bowing sideways, ascending, and very long. Wings nearly egg-shaped and scarcely longer than the tube of the impalement, outside the standard and very small. Keel straight out, the length of the wings, two-petaled and emarginated. Chives. Threads in 2 sets, 10 threads joined together beneath, slightly turned inwards, half the length of the standard, unequal, and arrow-headed. Pointal. Seed bud with a footstalk all-shaped, and tapering into the shaft, which is all-shaped, and of the length of the stamens. Summit terminating simple. Seed vessel. A very long pod, and before the seeds are swelled out terminated with a sharp point, of 1 cell. Seeds kidney-shaped. Obse herbacea has 10 distinct stamens. Specific character. Erythrina speciosa, folius magnus, ternatis, folioles cordatis, subtus nervosus aculeatus. Caulis triptalis, erectus, spinaceous, virides. Erythrina with showy flowers, leaves large and 3-divided, leaflets heart-shaped, with prickly nerves on the underside. Stem 3 feet high, upright, thorny, and green. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. The standard. 4. One of the wings. 5. The keel. 6. The chives spread open. 7. Seed bud and pointal. This superb erythrina was communicated to the author by A. B. Lambert, Esq., with whom it flowered in the month of November, for the first time in this kingdom. It is at present treated as a hothouse plant, but Mr. Lambert informs us that it is perfectly hardy, and strikes so freely that, although at present it is a nondescript and very rare plant, it will, doubtless, soon make its appearance in most collections. Its splendid flowers and easy culture will soon recommend it into general notice. There are but 5 species of this genus yet known. The present subject will therefore be a valuable addition to the number. The falling off of the leaves is its only defect, which we have no doubt but a hardier mode of treatment will remove. It is supposed to be a native of South America. pg 23 pg 24 Plate Uxliv. Lobelia hirsuta. Hairy Lobelia. Class 19. Order 6. Syngenesis monogamia. Tips united. Flowers simple. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 fidus. Corolla 1 petala, irregularis. Capsula in furrow 2 scu 3 locularis. Cup 5 cleft. Blossom, 1 petaled, irregular. Capsule beneath, 2 or 3 cellid. CP Alcalciath. Volume 4. Lobelia pinifolia. Specific character. Lobelia foliis hirsutis, inferioribus oblongis, dentatis, hirsutis, floribus albis, solitaris axillaribus, peduncules elongatus, stigmatibus obtusis, pilosus, call fruticosa, pilosa, patent. Lobelia with hairy leaves, the lower ones are oblong, toothed, and hirsute, flowers white, and grow singly from the base of the leaves, footstalks lengthened, summits blunt, and hairy, Stem shrubby, hairy, and spreading. Reference to the plate. 1. The flower and chives spread open and magnified. 2. Seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. The Lobelias are an extensive family, but in a very confused state at present, not many of them having been described, and almost all that have been figured are blue flowers, a scarce color in most genera, although so prevalent in this, and most probably to the attraction of this color is chiefly owing the notice already taken of them, for, as beautiful little annuals, they have an irresistible claim to our attention. Our present subject does not possess the charm of color, but from its lively white flowers and constant succession of bloom it is well deserving a place in the greenhouse. Our figure represents an entire plant, taken from the Cape Nursery of Messrs. Middlemist and Wood, near Shepherd's Bush on the Edgware Road, PG 25 PG 26 plate CCCCXLV. Epidendrum linear. Linear-leaved epidendrum. Class XX. Order Igenandria diandria. Chives on the pointle. 2 chives. Essential generic character. Nectarium turbinatum, obliquum, refl exum. Honeycup top-shaped, oblique, and reflexed. CPL 13. Volume I Epidendrum cochletum. Specific character. Epidendrum, Folius linearibus, column vagina alternatagantibus, apis crenatis, floribus terminalibus, spicatis, alternatis, purpurace, callus juncinus, longus, gracilis. Epidendrum, with linear leaves, alternately sheathing the stem, and notched at the end, flowers terminate the branches in a spike, alternate, and purple, stem rush-like, long, and slender. Reference to the plate. 1. The blossom without the honeycup, spread open to show the chives. 2. The same magnified. 3. The honeycup magnified. 4. The pointle magnified. In the icons of Joaquin we find a figure of this epidendrum, under the appellation we have adopted, but evidently taken from a dried specimen, with the reference to the icons of Father Plumier 182, Figure 1. Under the title of Helleborine, but on comparison we find no affinity sufficiently powerful to induce us to regard them as representing the same plant. In Plumier's figure there is no incisure at the end of the leaves, a specific character in our plant. The rest of the figure is also too obscure to admit of comparison. The plant, from its long and slender stalks, acquires a graceful bend when in flower. As a native of Jamaica it requires the tan bed of the hot stove for its protection, and, like many other tropical plants, is subject to lose much of its beauty by the loss of the leaves on the lower part of the stem. Our figure was made from the Hibertian collection PG 27 PG 28 plate Uxlv. Dolichos hirtus. Hairy-stemmed dolichos. Class 17. Order 4. Diadelphia decandria. Chives in 2 sets. 10 chives. Essential generic character. Vexillum callus duobus ad basin, parallelis, oblonges, alla subtis comprimendibus. Standard with 2 callosities at the base, parallel, and of an oblong form, the wings beneath binding together. Specific character. Dolichos hirtus, call volubili, tectopharogeneus pilosus, floribus luteus striatis rubris, folius ternatis, folioles subcordatus, subtis pilosus, stipules duobus ad basin, radis tuberosa. Dolichos with a hairy stem, the stalk is twining, and covered with rusty hairs, flowers are yellow, and striped with red, leaves ternate, leaflets nearly heart-shaped, and hairy beneath, with 2 stipulae at their base, root tuberous. Reference to the plate. 1. The cup. 2. The standard. 3. One of the wings shown from the inside. 4. The keel. 5. The chives and pointle. 6. The chives spread open. 7. The seed bud and pointle. This handsome twining plant was introduced from the Cape of Good Hope to the gardens of G. Hibbert, ESQ about the year 1802, and flowered very luxuriantly, but did not perfect any of its seeds nor make any approach towards it, as the flowers with their impalements all fell off together immediately after flowering, and for the last 3 or 4 years the plant, although apparently in a healthy state, has not indicated the least appearance of bloom, and we are inclined to think it might possibly succeed better with the careful treatment of the dry stove than with its present situation in the hothouse, and if upon experiment it should prove successful, it would then doubtless become a plant in request by many cultivators who whilst it remains a hothouse plant cannot give it a place in their collection. This genus approaches so near to that of Phaseolus, that we cannot help thinking one generic title would have been sufficient for them both. pg 29 pg 30 Plate Uxlatii. Protea argentiflora. Silvery flowered Protea. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Sem solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea argentiflora, Floribus paniculates, densissima conferta semes, parvis rotundatis capitatis, fragrantibus, nitidissimi's, folius bipinnatus, linearibus, apis acutus, erectopatentibus. Protea with silvery flowers, the flowers grow in panicles, closely crowded together, in little round heads, sweet-scented and very shining, leaves twice divided, linear, sharp-pointed, and between erect and spreading. Reference to the plate. 1. One of the scales. 2. A blossom detached from the umbel. 3. A section of it magnified. 4. Seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. 5. The cone with the scales attached. 6. The same without the scales. 7. The naked cone. From the shining silvery appearance of this Protea we have drawn its specific title, although aware of the insurmountable difficulty of doing justice to it, but in so extended a genus it will be frequently impossible to give a discriminating or unoccupied specific from its foliage. Our title may always be ascertained when the plant is in bloom, whether in perfection or not, as the flowers living or dead always retain a shining silvery aspect. It also possesses a most exquisite sweet scent, but its superior fragrance only exists whilst the flowers are in perfection, as after that period it grows fainter, and is at last scentless. Our figure was made from the collection of G. Hibbert, ESQ pg 31 pg 32 Plate Uxlatii. Paeonia suffruticosa, various flor purpureo. Shrubby peony, purple flowered variety. Class 13. Order V. Polyandria pentagoniae. Many chives. 5 pointles. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 phyllis. Petala 5. Styli 0. Capsuli polyspermy. Cup 5 leaved. Petals 5. Pointle none. Capsules many seeded. Specific character. Paeoniacol suffruticoso, triply, ramoso, folia alternatum bipinnata, petalia et ultra, bifida et trifida, subtus glauca, petioles longies, canaliculates, amplexicolibus, floribus semiduplicibus, purpurace, splendentibus. Peony with a shrubby stem, 3 feet high, and branching, leaves alternately 2-winged, a foot or more in length, 2 and 3 cleft, glaucous beneath, the petioles are long, channeled, and embracing the stem, flowers semi-double, purple and very splendid. This elegant plant is the purple variety mentioned in our last volume PL 373. And flowered at the same time, with completely double flowers, and so equal in point of beauty, that we hesitated some time before we could determine to which we should give the preference. But had we seen the purple one in its present semi-double state, it would undoubtedly have claimed precedence, as well from its preserved botanic character, as its superior beauty. The singular versatility of these plants we were entirely unacquainted with when we figured the rose-colored one, as, since that period, we have seen them in bloom with single flowers, the following year with double ones, and again the year after we found this purple one in the semi-double state which our figure represents, the plant then bearing 25 flowers in full perfection, forming a coup d'oeil superior to any shrub we have ever seen. Pg 33 Pg 34 Plate Uxlix. Linum trigonum. 3 styled golden flax. Class V Order V Pentandria Pentagonea. 5 chives. 5 pointals. Generic character. Calyx. Perianthium pentaphyllum, lanceolatum, erectum, persistens. Corolla. Petala infundibuliformia quinqua, oblongata, supernsensum latiera, obtusa, patentia. Stamina. Filamenta quinqua subulata, erecta, longitudine calycis, rudimenta philorum in super 5, alternantia. Antheri simplices, sagittati. Pistilum. Germen ovidum. Styli 5, filiforms, erecti, longitudine stamenum. Stigmata simplicia, reflexa. Pericarpium. Capsula globosa, pentagona, dissemlicularis, quinquivalvis. Semina solitaria, ovatoplaniuscula, acuminata, glabra. Impalement. Cup 5-leaved, lance-shaped, upright, and remaining. Blossom. Funnel-shaped petals 5, oblong, widening upwards by degrees, obtuse, and spreading. Chives. 5 filaments, all shaped, upright, the length of the calyx, there are 5 alternate slight rudiments of threads. Anthers simple, and arrow-shaped. Pointal. Seed bud ovate. Shafts 5, thread-shaped, and upright, the length of the stamens. Summit simple, and reflexed. Seed vessel. Capsule globular, 5-sided, tent-celled, 5-valved. Seed solitary, of a flattish oval form, sharp-pointed, and smooth. Specific character. Linum trigonum, folius alternus, ovates, glabrous, apis acuminates, floribus in ramus simpliciter terminalibus, corolla aurea, magna, ramules alternus, num rossis, viridibus. Flax with 3 pointals, leaves alternate, ovate, and smooth, pointed at the end, flowers terminate the branches singly, blossoms gold color, and large, the smaller branches alternate, numerous, and green. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. One of the petals. 3. Chives and pointals. 4. A chive magnified. 5. Seed bud and pointals, a summit magnified. 6. The seed bud cut transversely, magnified. This perfectly new linum is by far the most showy of the genus, and illumines all the gloomy months of winter with its fine large flowers, whose brilliance is not often surpassed even in the height of summer, when flora reigns with undiminished luster. It has been hitherto regarded as a hothouse plant, but is now found to succeed much better with the careful treatment of the greenhouse. It is published by Captain Hardwick in his enumeration of the plants of Srinagar in the Asiatic Annual Register of 1800, and was found by that gentleman on the sides of the mountains in fine bloom in the month of December, and from whom it received the specific title of trigonum. Its provincial name is said to be Gul Ashorfi, from gul a flower and Ashorfi gold, a coin current in India of the value of 2 sterling. There is a figure of this linum in the Exotic Botany of Dr. Smith, copied from a drawing, and represented with deeply serrated leaves, a character very different from any of the living plants we have as yet seen in bloom, not one of them exhibiting the slightest vestige of a serrature on their foliage. Our figure was made from a plant in luxuriant bloom at the nursery of Messrs. Whitley and Bram's PG 35 PG 36 plate CCCCL. Albuca fastigiata. Level-topped albuca. Class 6. Order Ihexandria monogenea. 6 chives. 1 pointle. Generic character. Calyx nullus. Corolla hexapetala, tribus interioribus conniventibus, exterioribus patulus. Stamina. Filamenta sex, apis inflexa, basi dilatata. Antheri oblongi, in medio aphysi. Stylus tricater. Stigma triquetrum. Pericarpium. Capsula oblonga, angulata, 3 locularis, 3 valvus. Semina numerosa, plana. OBS. In quibus dam specievus tria stamina sterilia sunt. Impalement none. Blossom. 6 petals, the 3 inner ones conniving together, the outer ones spreading. Chives. 6 threads turned inwards at the points, and widened at the base. Tips oblong, and fastened in the center shaft 3-sided. Summit 3-cornered. Seed vessel. Capsule oblong, angular, 3-celled, 3-valved. Seeds many, flat. OBS. In some species 3 of the stamens are sterile. Specific character. Albuca foliis lanceolato ensiformibus, floribus erectis, paniculates, fastigiatus, peduncules longissimis, corales albis, in medio linea viridi, petalis interioribus apis fornicatus, stamina includentibus, qui sunt omnia fertilia. Albuca with leaves between lance and sword-shaped, flowers upright, and grow paniculated and level, footstalks very long, blossoms white, with a stripe of green in the center, the inner petals forming an arch at the end, and enclosing the stamens, which are all fertile. Reference to the plate. 1 of the flower props. 2 the chives and pointle. 3 1 of the outer chives. 4 1 of the inner ones. 5 seed bud and pointle. This genus approaches so near to Ornithogalum, that they may easily be mistaken for each other, the only visible distinction resting in the unexpanding character of the 3 inner petals, or calyx, for opinions vary with respect to their denomination. Jussarou, an able botanist, through all the divisions of this family, regarding that as the impalement which we, following Linnaeus, describe as petals. In the species Plantarum of Wildenau we find our plant enumerated under the specific title of Fastigiata, with a technical description annexed to it. From a plant in the garden of G. Hibbert, ESQ about 3 years ago, we made a drawing of this albuca, but are inclined to think it rather scarce, not having seen it since that period. PG 37 PG 38 plate Uckley. Diosma iricifolia. Heath-leaved diosma. Class V order Ipentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla 5 petala. Nectaria 5 supergermen. Caps. 3s5, coelati. Seminatecta. Blossom. 5 petals. 5 nectaries above the seed bud. Seed vessels 3 or 5, joined together. Seeds covered. Specific character. Diosma folius alternus, linearibus, acutus, notatus, floribus in umbellus paniculates, parvis, albis. Diosma with alternate leaves, linear, sharp-pointed, and marked. Flowers grow in paniculated umbels, small, and white. Reference to the plate. 1. A leaf magnified. 2. The impalement magnified. 3. Seed buds, honey cups, chives, and pointle. 4. A chive magnified. 5. The honey cups magnified. 6. Seed buds and pointle, magnified. This new species of Diosma so nearly resembles the genus Erica in its foliage, that, regarding it as an unequivocally good specific reference, we have adopted it. The only place in which we have as yet seen it was at the Cape Nursery last December, where we observed several plants in fine bloom, and although not showy, they are certainly estimable from their neat and delicate appearance, particularly at a season when so many of the beauties of vegetation are in a state of quiescence. Upon comparing our figure with a fine dried specimen of the D. hirsuta in the herbarium of A. B. Lambert, Esq., we find so powerful a resemblance as induces us to regard our plant as only a variation of culture, more especially as in the magnifier slight vestiges of the hairs on the edges of the leaves are still discernible. But no fear need be entertained of any mode of culture rendering our present specific term impervious to the naked eye. There is a dotted or punctured character which pervades the under surface of the foliage of most diosmas, many of which, when rubbed, emit a powerful odor. The present subject, although deficient in both those respects, still possesses a peculiarity that we have thought deserving a magnified place in the dissections. It is a hardy greenhouse plant, and a native of the Cape of Good Hope PG 39 PG 40 plate Ucklei. Acania mollis. Soft-haired leaved Acania. Class 16. Order 6. Monadelphia polyandria. Threads united. Many chives. Generic character. Calyx duplex. Interior monophyllous, semi-striatus, subcylindraceous, quinquefidus, persistens. Exterior octophylous, basilevator coelatus. Corolla subclavida, convoluta. Petala quinqua, basi unilatera alternatum auriculata, lobes columnam stamenum convolventibus. Stamina. Filamenta plurima, ad basin in tubum corolla longorum torta, in partum superiorum tubi coelata, cujus apex libratus est pistilum. Germen subglobosum. Stylus filiformis. Stigmatus emphydum. Pericarpium. Bacchus subglobosa, quinquilocularis. Semina solitaria. Impalement double. The inner one-leafed, half-striped, nearly cylindrical, 5-cleft, and remaining. The outer 8-leaved, and slightly attached at the base. Blossom nearly club-shaped, and folded together. Petals 5, alternately eared on one side of the base, the lobes of which are rolled round the columnar shaft of the stamens. Chives. Threads numerous, united at the base into a tube longer than the blossom, twisted, and united near the upper part of the tube, the point of which is liberated. Pointle. Seed bud nearly round. Shaft thread-shaped. Summit 10-cleft. Seed vessel. A berry nearly round, with 5 cells. Seed solitary. Specific character. Acania folius tomentosis, cordatis, trilobatus, dentatis. Calyx exterior revolutus, pubescens. Flora solitarii, axillaries. Corolla subclavida. Petala convoluta, subinclusa, laet coccinea, nervosa, tomentosa. Caulis fruticosus, villosus, subtriptylis. Acanea with downy leaves, heart-shaped, three-lobed, and toothed. The outer cup is revolute, and hairy. Flowers grow solitary from the axilla of the leaves. Blossom nearly club-shaped. The petals are folded together and nearly closed, of a bright scarlet color, nerved, and downy. Stem shrubby, hairy, and near 3 feet high. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. A petal detached, shown from the outside. 4. The chives spread open. 5. Seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. This handsome hothouse plant is certainly an old one, having been a sojourner with us near 30 years, but has not as yet been figured in any publication that we know of, a neglect most probably resulting from the singularity of its unclosing flowers, so uncommon a character naturally conveying an idea that the plant was in an imperfect state. Under this prejudice it has lost the charm of novelty, and many a less attractive object has been preferred before it. This genus approaches so close to the genera of Hibiscus, Althea, Malva, and C that it must certainly be considered as a very near relation to that family. Its foliage is frequently deciduous on the lower part of the stem, a defect to which stove plants in general are but too subject. It is a native of South America and the West India Islands, was found by Dr. Houston in Jamaica in 1731, and introduced by B. Buick, Esq. in 1780. It flowers from July till the end of the year. Pg 41 Pg 42 Plate Ucleath. Proteoripens. Creeping Protea. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Sem solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Proteoripens, folias subamplexicolibus, cordatis, undulates, apis reflexus, acutus, marginibus rubris, floribus subbasin, int irius squamorum calicis laet carneum, exterius fusco purpureum, villosum. Protea with a creeping stem, and leaves nearly surrounding it, which are heart-shaped, waved, bent back at the end, sharp-pointed, and red at the edges. Flowers grow towards the base of the plant. The inside of the scales of the impalement are of a bright flesh color, and the outside of a purple-brown, and hairy. Reference to the plate. 1. The blossom complete, and 1 of the chives magnified. 2. Seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. The appearance of this protea, as cultivated in the gardens, is diametrically opposite to its natural character, which, as its specific indicates, is repent or creeping, instead of which, the branches of the plant are bent from their natural habit, forced as upright as possible, and fastened to a stick, in which situation the flowers only would compare with our figure. But so averse is it to this confined mode of treatment, that, as soon as the branches are liberated, they instantly take the direction most natural to them, and which is certainly the most graceful. Although repens is the more general title of this protea, yet we have heard it sometimes called amplexicolis, a name given by some cultivators to a plant whose foliage is so nearly resembling the one now figured, that, when it arrives at a flowering state, it will most probably prove to be no more than a variation of culture. It is a difficult matter to say in what stage the flower is most beautiful, whether in the bud state, before the pointles are released, or afterwards. From their long confinement, the pollen adheres so strongly to them, that when relieved they appear like the antheri. Our drawing was made at the Hibertian collection from a plant in fine bloom in the month of February PG 43 PG 44 plate Ucliv. Urtica bachifera. Berry-bearing nettle. Class XXI. Order 4. Monoecia tetrandria. Chives and pointils separate. 4 chives. Generic character. Asterisk masculi flores. Calyx. Perianthium tetraphyllum. Corolla nulla. Nectarium in centro floriciathiform. Stamina. Filamenta quachu or, subulata, longitudine calycis. Asterisk feminae flores vel in edum vel distincta planta. Calyx. Perianthium bivalve, persistens. Corolla nulla. Pistillum. Germen ovidum. Stylus nullus. Stigma villicum. Pericarpium nullum. Semen unicum. Asterisk male flowers. Impalement four-leaved. Blossom none. Honeycup is formed in the center of the flower, like a small cup. Chives. Filaments 4, all shaped, and the length of the cup. Asterisk female flowers in the same, or in separate plants. Impalement. Cup 2 valved, and remaining. Blossom none. Pointil. Seed bud ovate. Shaft none. Summit hairy. Seed vessel none. Seed 1. Specific character. Urtica bachifera, folius alternus, cordatis, dentatis, aculis tectis, calices fominae, baccati, alternatum in ramos longos de varicatos positae, dependence, laet rubri, et aculis tecti, caulis aculis magnus tectus. Berry-bearing nettle with leaves alternate, heart-shaped, toothed, and covered with prickles, impalement female, having berries, and alternately situated upon long straggling branches, hanging down, of a bright red color, and covered with prickles, stem covered with large prickles. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower magnified. 2. The same with the summit detached, magnified. This plant is most completely armed in all directions, and known by the appellation of the horrid nettle. The fierceness of its exterior evinces grandeur, and the bright red flower stems combine some share of beauty, and notwithstanding its ferocious aspect, the common wild hedge nettle suffers a light approach with less impunity than this terrific plant, thus proving the old axiom of an open enemy, however powerful, being less injurious than a pretended friend, whose insidious character, like the hedge nettle, unheeded stings. In the Hortus and Brunensis of Jacquin it is described and figured, and also in the Icons of Plumier, p. 259, tab. 260, who gives it the additional specific of arborescens, and there is but little doubt of its forming a tree-like appearance in the Antilles and Blue Mountain Valley of Jamaica, where it is indigenous. The figure represents the upper part of a large specimen, communicated by A. B. Lambert, ESQ, with whom it flowered in the summer of 1804 pg 45 pg 46 plate CCCCLV. Polygala mixta. Mixed polygala. Class 17. Order 3. Diadelphia octandria. 2 brotherhoods. 8 chives. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 phyllis, folioles duobus alaformibus, coloratus, legumen obcordatum, biloculare. Cup 5 leaved, with 2 of the leaves like wings, colored, pod inverse heart-shaped, toothed-celled. Specific character. Polygala floribus imberbibus, axillaribus, purpurace, folius fasciculates, 5 to 6 in singulo fasciculo, linearibus, acutus, Vald confertus interflores, Col suffruticoso, Ramules filiformibus, patentibus. Polygala with beardless flowers, growing from the axillae of the leaves, and of a purple color. The leaves grow in fascicles, 5 and 6 in each fascicle, linear, sharp-pointed, and very much crowded amongst the flowers, stem shrubbish, branches thread-shaped, and spreading. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement magnified. 2. The keel magnified. 3. One of the wings magnified. 4. The chives magnified. 5. The pointle magnified. 6. Flower of a white variety. Amongst the numerous introductions of novelty to the gardens of G. Hibbert, Esq. the Hesteria section of the genus Polygala, although not splendid, are all of them particularly desirable, from their lively, long, and, of this species, we may say continual bloom, it having been seen in flower throughout the whole year. There is a variety of it with white flowers of equal durability, and so perfect a facsimile in every other particular, that a separate figure will by no means be requisite, especially as in the winter season the purple flowers are sometimes almost bleached by the cold, and the distinction in consequence less apparent. It is well known by the cultivators under the appellation of mixta, a specific given to it from the promiscuous manner in which the flowers and leaves are profusely mixed together. Pg 47 Pg 48 Plate Uckelvy. Lacinalia flava. Yellow-flowered Lacinalia. Class 6. Order Ihexandria monogenea. 6 chives. 1 pointle. Generic character. Corolla 6 petala, in furrow, petalis 3 interioribus longoribus, stamina erecta, capsula subovida, triolata, semina globosa. Blossom 6-petaled beneath, the 3 inner petals the longest, chives erect, capsule nearly egg-shaped, 3-winged, seeds globular. Specific character. Lacinalia folius geminis, lanceolates, scapo erecto, color cinerio ceruleo in magem marmoris varieto, corales flavus, subpendulus, subcylindraces, cum limbo petalorum interiorum permino et expanso, tria petala exteriora angusta, et apis virescentia. Lacinalia with leaves in pairs, and lance-shaped, flower stem upright, and of a slaty color obscurely marbled, blossoms yellow, nearly hanging down, somewhat cylindrical, with the border of the inner petals very large and spreading, the 3 outer petals are narrow, and greenish at the point. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower spread open. 2. Seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. 3. The seed bud cut transversely, magnified. This Lacinalia may be regarded as a perfectly new species, there not being a figure of it extant, nor is it enumerated in the species Plantarum of Wildenau. We were at first inclined to have called it Ringens, from the wide gaping character of the mouth of the flower, but as so many of this genus have received a specific title in reference to their color, the appellation of flava in the present instance will doubtless be generally as well accepted. The figure was made, from the only plant that has as yet flowered in this country, at the nursery of Mr. Williams of Turnham Green, who informs me that he has had the plant 3 or 4 years, but has found it difficult to flower, and slow of increase. Pg 49 Pg 50 Plate Uclei. Banksia spinulosa. Thorny-leaved Banksia. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Receptaculum commune elongatum, squamosum, corolla tetrapetala, stamina limbo incerta, capsula bivalvus, disp irma, decepimento mobili interjecto, semina alida. Common receptacle elongated, scaly, blossom of 4 petals, chives inserted into the limb of the blossom, capsule with 2 valves, 2 seeds, and a movable partition between them, seeds winged. See Banksia serrata, P. Lsxi. Volume 2. Specific character. Banksia folius linearibus, longuis, margin revolutus, subapices spinulosus, ramus patentibus, ad basin folius sparses, supernfasciculates. Banksia with long linear leaves, rolled back at the edges, and towards the ends furnished with little thorns, branches spreading, thin of leaves at the base, which are bundled together on the upper part of the branches. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower. 2. A blossom spread open, 1 chive magnified. 3. The pointle, summit magnified. The flowers of this Banksia bear a considerable degree of affinity to the B. iricifolia already figured in PL 156, but very distinct in the foliage. From the small thorns on the upper part of the leaves it has acquired the specific title of spinulosa. It is not very often seen in bloom, although an old plant, which is accounted for in the slowness of its growth, and the size it generally attains to before it becomes a flowering plant, and as this character is prevalent through the whole genus, it no doubt prevents them from being so generally cultivated as they would otherwise be, since, when in flower, they are certainly both curious and beautiful. Our figure was taken from a plant in the collection of His Grace the Duke of Northumberland, at Zion House near Brentford, where, under the care of Mr. Hoy, several fine species of this genus are in very great perfection. Pg 51 Pg 52 Plate Ucleath. Eugenia malaxensis. Malay apple tree. Class 12. Order Iicosandria monogenea. 20 chives. 1 pointle. Generic character. Calyx. Perianthium monophyllum, superum, in medio orbiculus, supraquem quadripartidum est, Licinia concavus, persistentibus. Corolla. Petala quachu or, Calistoplo majora, obtusa, concava. Stamina. Filamenta plurima in orbiculo calici incerta, longitudine coralli, antheri parvi. Pistillum. Germen turbinatum, infirm. Styla simplex, longitudine staminum. Stigma simplex. Pericarpium. Drupa quadrangularis, coronata, unilocularis. Semina. Nux subrotunda, glabra. Impalement. Cup of 1 leaf, above, in the middle is a little circle, above which it is foredivided, the segments are hollow, and remaining. Blossom. Petals 4, twice the size of the calyx, obtuse, and hollow. Chives. Threads many in a little circle inserted into the calyx, tips small. Pointle. Seed bud top-shaped, beneath. Shaft simple, the length of the stamens. Summit simple. Seed vessel. A berry 4-angled, coronet-shaped, and 1-celled. Seed. A nut nearly round, and smooth. Specific character. Eugenia folius oppositus, alternus, lates, ovalibus, apis ucuto, levator torto, glabrous, lucides. Caulis erectus. Ramuli superiores dumosi, cordis rugoso, color pulaginoso, ramus floriferus oppositus, alternus, rectis, corales alternatum oppositus, purpurace. Eugenia with opposite alternate leaves, broad, and of an oval form, with an acute point, slightly twisted, smooth, and shining. Stem upright. The branches above are bushy. The bark is wrinkled, and of a light brown color. The flower branches are opposite, alternate, and straight out. The blossoms are alternately opposite, and purple. Reference to the plate. 1 a petal. 2 a chive, 1 tip magnified. 3 the impalement and pointal. 4 a half-ripe fruit. The figure of this Eugenia was made from the finest plant in this country in the hothouse of G. Hibbert, Esq, where we were in hopes it would have perfected its fruit, but were disappointed, as in a very forward state towards ripening it fell off. But, as far as it was advanced, we have represented it, as in this climate it might probably never arrive at greater maturity, unless a larger house were constructed for it, otherwise the degree of heat necessary to preserve the smaller tropical plants would always be subject to injure those of a large size, from the natural extension of their roots approaching too near the flues. But although so much care is required for it in this clime, in the warmer regions of Macassar, Amboina, and the Moluccas, where it is indigenous, not the least attention is necessary, for, such is the extreme indolence of the natives, that it is imagined, if any care had been requisite for its preservation, it would soon have been lost for want of it. In the Hortus Malabaricus of Reed there is an uncollared figure of it, with descriptions, in which it is said to be a fruit tree of great general utility to the country from its extreme abundance, grateful taste, and salubrious quality, flowering twice in the year. The fruit in an unripe state is of a bitterish and rather astringent character, but, when ripe, of a fine flavor, exceedingly wholesome, and beneficial as an allayer of inflammation in feverish habits. The flowers are by the Dutch at Amboina preserved, and frequently eaten by way of salad. It is said to form a tall umbrageous tree, and when in fine bloom must certainly be an object of great beauty. Pg 53 Pg 54 Plate Uclix. Lagiopetalum corsifolium. Oak-leaved Lagiopetalum. Class V Order Ipentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx trifilum, tomentosum, persistens. Corolla monopetala, lanuginosa, 5 phyta. Filamenta 5, Germina spacey aphysa. Germen superum. Capsula 3 locularis, 3 valvus. Impalement 3-leaved, downy, and remaining. Blossom 1-leafed, woolly, and 5 cleft. Threads 5, fixed to the base of the seed bud. Seed bud above. Capsule 3 cellid, 3 valved. Specific character. Lagiopetalum corsifolium, ternatum, folius duobus ad basin minoribus, supraviridibus, subtus nervosus, ferrugineus, stellidum setis tectis, racemes floriferus longuis, folius oppositus, corales purpurae. Rami et ramuli, pedunculi, and C. setis stellidum tecti, ferruginei. Caulis humilis. Woolly flower with oak-shaped leaves, by threes, 2 at the base are smallest, green on their upper surface, veined beneath, of a rusty iron color, and beset with hairy star-like specks. Flower branches long, and opposite to the leaves. Blossoms purple. The small and larger branches, footstalks, and C are beset with star-like specks, and of a rusty color. Stem low. Reference to the plate. 1 the impalement. 2 seed bud, chives, and pointal. 3 a chive magnified. 4 the same shown from the outer side. 5 seed bud and pointal. Throughout almost all the plants as yet introduced from New South Wales, there is a strong marked leading feature that proclaims them of Botany Bay extraction, either in the upright strictness of their habit, a hard harsh character in the foliage, or a rough and rusty exterior. Of the last description is our present figure, but it is nevertheless a very handsome plant, and the only addition, to this otherwise solitary genus, as yet in cultivation with us. Le Billardier, in his description of New South Wales, has given a figure of a plant under the title of Lagiopetalum trifilum, very much resembling our quercifolium, probably a variety of it, or, if intended to represent the same plant, there must be a considerable inaccuracy in the delineation. Our figure was taken from a plant at the nursery of Messrs. Colville, PG 55 PG 56 plate CCCCLX. Lacanalia sessiliflora. Sessile-flowered Lacanalia. Class 6. Order Ihexandria monogenea. 6 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 6 petala, in furrow, petalis 3 interioribus longoribus, stamina erecta, capsula subovida, triolata, semina globosa. Blossom 6-petaled beneath, the 3 inner petals the longest, chives erect, capsule nearly egg-shaped, 3-winged, seeds globular. Specific character. Lacanalia sessiliflora, Folius geminis, lanceolates, scapo erecto, semipetally, floribus propapaces convertus, purpurace, petalis exterioribus cunatis, interioribus duplo longoribus, angustus, truncatus. Lacanalia with sessile flowers, leaves by pairs, stem upright, half a foot high, flowers grow crowded together near the top, and are of a purple color. The outer petals are wedge-shaped, the inner ones twice the length, narrow, and appearing cut off at the end. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower spread open. 2. The inside of the same. 3. Seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. This Lacanalia is perfectly new, an attraction that may counterbalance its want of speciosity. From the total absence of footstalks to the flowers we have derived its unoccupied specific title. Professor Jacquin has figured many handsome species of this genus not yet introduced to this country, and amongst the number 2 equally sessile with our plant, but in no other particular resembling it. From a drawing made for the collection of G. Hibbert, ESQ in 1803 our figure was taken, since which period we have not seen any vestige of the plant, and therefore imagine that, like many other Cape bulbs, it is lost to us for the present, but it probably may soon reappear amongst the frequent importations we are in the constant habit of receiving from that inexhaustible botanic mine PG 57 PG 58 plate Ucklesey. Protea teretifolia. Cylindric-leaved protea. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Sem solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea teretifolia, Folius obtusis, Junioribus ascendentibus, Senioribus patentibus, Floribus luteus, Capitatus, Terminalibus, Folius circumcessus, Post-fluorescentium conus formator. Protea with cylindrical leaves blunt-ended, the younger ascending, and the older ones spreading, flowers yellow, headed, terminal, and surrounded by the leaves, and after flowering a cone is formed. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower. 2. A chive magnified. 3. Seed bud and pointal. 4. Flower branch of a small variety. This little protea is more desirable, by way of contrast to those splendid imbricated species, than for any beauty it possesses, and exhibits powerfully the great diversity of character annexed to this numerous genus. Attached to the dissections is part of the branch of a minor variety, and which is by some considered as specifically distinct, and were extension our object, it certainly might be made a separate species, from the difference of its character after flowering, the larger one forming a cone the size of an egg, which the lesser one does not. It also differs in the manner of its growth, but only in the dried specimens which we have seen that have been collected from old plants at the Cape, and in them the small variety forms its branches after the manner of a corymbus, and the plant has thence received the appellation of corymbosa. But had we given a separate figure of it, we could not, without making an awkward apology, have adopted a specific title whose characteristic appearance it might never acquire in this climate, and which our figure would not have possessed. By placing it amongst the variations these objections are obviated, and the appearance of repetition avoided, a desirable object in a genus so extended as Protea, and we shall take every opportunity of abbreviating as much as possible the number of slight varieties, particularly when their attractions are not considerable. Our drawing was made from plants in the Hibertian collection PG 59 PG 60 plate Ucklesii. Malus japonica. Scarlet flowering Japan apple. Class 12. Order Vicosandria pentagoniae. 20 chives. 5 pointals. Generic character. Calyx. Periantheum monophyllum, concavum, quinquefidum, persistens. Corolla. Petala quinqua, subrotunda, concava. Stamina. Filamenta viginti, subulata, corolla brevura, calyci incerta. Antheri simplicis. Pistillum. Germen infirm. Styli 5. Phylum longitudine staminum. Stigmata simplicia. Pericarpium. Pomum subrotundum, umbilicatum, carnosum, membranaceum, locules quinquilocularibus. Semina. Nonula oblonga, obtusa, base acuminata, inconvexa, ind plana. Impalement. Cup 1 leaf, hollow, 5-parted, and remaining. Blossom. 5 petals, nearly round, and hollow. Chives. 20, all shaped, and shorter than the blossom, and inserted into the cup. Tip simple. Pointals. Seed bud beneath. Shafts 5. Thread the length of the stamens. Summit simple. Seed vessel. An apple nearly round, naveled, fleshy, skinny, partitions 5 loculaments. Seeds. Some oblong, obtuse, pointed at the base, convex on the side, and then flat. Specific character. Malus japonica, Folius alternus, Lanceolades et spathulades, Glabrous, et lucides, Marginibus cerulades, Suffrudicibus, et interdum arborescentibus. Rami et ramuli alterni, recti, ad basin nodo c, color schisti, Floribus fasciculades, Plerum quaternis, Laet coccinais, Petaliconc avis, Quinquivel de cm. Floret in Martio et Aprili. Japan apple, with alternate leaves lance and spatula shaped, smooth, and shining, with finely sawed margins, shrubbish, and sometimes growing to a tree. The small and large branches are alternate and straight out, knotty at the base, and of a slaty color. Flowers grow in bunches mostly of 4 together, of a bright scarlet color. The petals are concave, and from 5 to 10 in number. Flowers in March and April. Reference to the plate. 1 a petal. 2 the impalement, chives, and pointals. 3 the same spread open, 1 tip magnified. 4 seed bud and pointals, summit magnified. This handsome fruit tree will doubtless soon become an object of general cultivation in this country, from the brilliance and duration of its fine scarlet blossoms. It is perfectly hardy, but flowers with most freedom in the shelter of the greenhouse. The fruit is about the size and shape of a walnut. Why or wherefore Pyrus is the generic title adopted for apple we were at first at a loss to conjecture, but upon investigation find it built on the egotism too inseparable from human nature, and must confess ourselves very sorry to be under the necessity of placing the defect to its original source, the celebrated Linnaeus, who it appears altered it from Malus, the genus of Tournefort, to Pyrrhus, for no other reason but that his own system, unquestionably the best in almost every other particular, might not bear any resemblance to that of Tournefort. Jusso in the introduction to his Genera Plantarum, commenting on this very subject, concludes with this most excellent remark: such is the love of undivided praise. We have therefore returned the genus back to its old standard, not through any desire to alter, but absolute necessity, regarding the absurdity of its nomination under the generic title of Pyrrhus as already too long retained, for whilst the tree is known by its fruit, that fruit should certainly be called by its name. For the introduction of this fine plant we are indebted to the Honourable C. Greville, in whose conservatory at Paddington it first flowered, and from whence our figure was taken pg 61 pg 62 plate Uckelsiath. Paeonia papaveracea. Poppy-like peony. Class 13. Order 6. Polyandria hexaginea. Many chives. 6 pointals. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 phyllus. Petala 5. Styli 0. Capsule polyspermy. Cup 5 leaved. Petals 5. Pointal none. Capsules many seeded. Specific character. Paeonia col suffruticoso ramoso, folia alternatum bipinnata, subtus glauca, petioles longies, canaliculates, amplexicolibus, floribus semiduplicibus, albis, ad basin elegante purpurea radiatis, capsula orbiculata, continens sex loculamenta, in quibus singulis sunt duo semina. Peony with a shrubby stem branching beneath, leaves alternately two-winged, and glaucous beneath, with long footstalks, channeled, and embracing the stem. Flowers semi-double, white, but elegantly radiated at the base with a purple color, capsule orbicular, containing 6 cells, with 2 seeds in each. Reference to the plate. 1. The seed vessel. 2. The same cut transversely. For this beautiful species of Paeonia we are indebted to Lady Hume, in whose select collection at Wormley Bury, Herts, it flowered for the first time in this country. When we figured the fine purple variety, we little thought of having so soon to compare it with a rival of such magnitude, and of equal beauty. The bright radiated purple at the base is a great relief to the surrounding whiteness of the petals, that would otherwise stand in much greater need of the assistance of art for a strength of shadow, that would unavoidably injure their delicacy. The more we become acquainted with this attractive genus, the greater latitude of growth we find attached to it, which appears to defy all systematic rule, varying in some species from digynia, or 2 pointals, up to 6 or more. The present one differs more than all the rest, having 6 pointals and seed buds attached together, and enshrined within a globular exterior, resembling a poppy, and from whence we have drawn its specific title, for, as a distinct species it may certainly be considered with great propriety, and most likely the distinction will by some be thought of sufficient consequence to license a generic division, but in a genus so mutable, were the alteration still greater, whilst it could be recognized as a peony, we should regret to meet it under any other title. Pg 63 Pg 64 plate Uckelsiv. Diosma ovida. Oval-leaved Diosma. Class V. Order I. Pentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 5 petala. Nectaria 5 supergermen. Caps. 3s5, coelati. Seminatecta. Blossom. 5 petals. 5 nectaries above the seed bud. Seed vessels 3 or 5, joined together. Seeds covered. Specific character. Diosma ovida, folius alternus, oppositus, odorous, superglabrous, infrapunctatus, patentibus, floribus plerunctuobus, axillaribus, in medio ramulorum, albis. Caulis erectus, ramus simplicibus. Diosma with oval leaves, alternate, opposite, and full of scent, smooth above, dotted beneath, and spreading. Flowers grow mostly two together from the axilla of the leaves, about the middle of the branches, and are white. Stem upright. Branches simple. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. Seed buds, honey cups, chives, and pointle. 3. A petal. 4. A chive magnified. 5. Seed bud and pointle. Among the scented foliage characteristic of so many of the diosmas, the present species is by far the most powerful, and is the plant called buku, so much used by the Hottentots, at the Cape of Good Hope, by way of perfume. They mix it with grease, and anoint themselves with it so profusely that a stranger can scarcely endure the effluvia of it. The D. serrata also possesses a similar scent, and is most likely used occasionally for the same purpose by the natives. Its scent, when rubbed, remains a long time, and by some is thought very pleasant, by others as disagreeable, a difference of opinion in general attending all very strong perfumes. The foliage has a very neat appearance, and the clear white flowers give it a lively aspect. Like several others of the genus, it blooms in winter and spring. Our figure was made from the Clapham collection PG 65 PG 66 plate CCCCLXV. Protea divaricata. Straddling-leaved protea. Class 4. Order I. Tetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices inserti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Sem solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea divaricata, folius multifidus, longies, linearibus, terretibus, patentibus, floribus glomerates, luteus. Protea with straddling leaves, many cleft, long, linear, round, and spreading. Flowers grow in close round heads of a yellow color. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower. 2. A chive magnified. 3. Seed bud and pointle. This very distinct species of Protea we have not seen in any other collection than that of G. Hibbert, Esq., nor is it as yet amongst the numerous fine dried specimens in the herbarium of A. B. Lambert, Esq., and certainly may be considered at present as a rare plant. From the firm luxuriance of the foliage, and woody character of its stem, we should be inclined to regard it as a plant not difficult to preserve, and considering the abundance of its leaves, the flowers are comparatively few, and very likely the circumstance may best account for its present scarcity, for, amongst the various beauties of this extensive tribe, numerous flowers, or speciosity of appearance, are the best recommendations to particular attention. PG 67 PG 68 plate Ucklexy. Goodenia tenella. Slender Goodenia. Class V. Order I. Pentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla 5 phyta, supralongitudinal adhere fissa, genitalia exerans. Stigma urceolatum, ciliatum. Blossom 5 cleft, longitudinally cloven on the upper side, exposing the organs of generation. Summit cup-shaped, and fringed. Specific character. Goodenia tenella, folius prostratus, spathulates, margin levator pilosus. Flores plures, germinans aduobus bractees oppositus, corales luteus, petalis duobus superioribus maculates. Rami gracils, longi, emergence aratus, terram comprimunt, et postea adsendunt. Goodenia with slender stems, prostrate leaves which are spatula-shaped, with lightly haired margins. Flowers numerous, branching out from two opposite floral leaves. Blossoms yellow, the two upper petals are spotted. Branches slender, long, and emerging from the root, press the earth, and afterward ascend. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. Seed bud, chives, and pointle, magnified. This delicate new goodenia represents the entire plant, as communicated to the author by the Comtesse de Vannes, in whose choice collection near Bayswater it flowered for the first time. It is certainly one of the most graceful plants hitherto introduced from New South Wales. Its general exterior approaches very near a generic division of goodenia called Velleia, and is by Labillardier figured under the title Velleia trinervis. The abundance and succession of its bright yellow blossom, joined to its light and airy appearance, will no doubt ensure it a place in most collections. pg 69 pg 70 plate Uclexii. Lythrum fruticosum. Shrubby Lythrum. Class 12. Order Idodecandria monogenea. 12 chives. 1 pointle. Generic character. Calyx. Perianthium monophyllum, Cylindраceum, denticules duodecime, alternus minoribus. Corolla. Petala sex, oblongata, obtusicula, patentia, unguibus in incisores calycis incertus. Stamina. Filamenta 12, longitudine calycis, supra, infrabrevura. Antheri simplices, incumbents. Pistillum. Germen oblongum. Styla subulatus, longitudine stamenum, declinatus. Stigma orbiculatum. Pericarpium. Capsula oblongata, acuminata, loculamentus duobustecta. Semina numerosa, parva. Impalement. Cup 1-leaved, cylindrical, 12-toothed, the alternate ones the smallest. Blossom. Petals 6, oblong, bluntish, and spreading, the unguis or claws are inserted into the divisions of the calyx. Chives 12 filaments the length of the calyx, above, shorter beneath. Tips simple, and lying on them. Pointle. Seed bud oblong. Shaft all-shaped, the length of the stamens, bent downward. Summit orbicular. Seed vessel. Capsule oblong, sharp-pointed, covered with 2 loculaments. Seeds numerous, and small. Specific character. Lythrum fruticosum, folius oppositus, alternus, lanceolates. Flores in racemes axillaribus in numeris irregularibus, corales tubiformibus, coccinais. Spont nascens in provincia borealibus hindustani. Lythrum with a shrubby stem. Leaves opposite, alternate, and lance-shaped. Flowers grow in clusters from the axillae of the leaves in irregular numbers. Blossoms trumpet-shaped, of a scarlet color. It grows wild in the northern provinces of Hindustan. Reference to the plate. 1. A blossom spread open, 1 tip magnified. 2. The same shown from the outer side. 3. The seed bud and pointle. 4. A capsule. 5. The same cut transverse. This plant seems to have been hitherto but imperfectly known, having been figured among Dr. Roxburgh's Coromandel plants, volume IP 20, under the title of Grisaea tomentosa. It has recently received another new generic title, but upon examination we find it to be the Lithorum of Linnaeus, in which opinion the author is sanctioned by the concurrence of some of the ablest botanists of the present day. This handsome shrub is described in the fourth volume of the Asiatic Researches, under the native title of D. Hori, and is said to grow wild on the hills and banks of rivulets in the northern part of Hindustan, where it is as much esteemed for its utility as its beautiful red flowers, which are gathered both for the use of dyers and apothecaries, the latter giving an infusion of them as a cooling medicine. When used in dyeing, they lose their color, and only yield a slight brownish tincture to the water, so that the benefit derived from them when used with AAAL seems to depend solely on their action as an astringent, and which appears to be confirmed by the substituting of Bipervaz, a strong astringent, as an equivalent for the flowers of the D. Hori. It is at present treated as a hothouse plant, but would in all probability succeed very well in the careful treatment of the greenhouse. The figure was taken from a fine plant in the nursery of Messrs. Colville. Aal, the native name of the Morinda plant, a tree of a middling size cultivated to a great extent for the purpose of dyeing cloth red, and is more esteemed for its duration than its beauty, and forms an important branch in the commerce of the province of Malava. Bipervaz, a kind of gall nut containing the exuviae of a small insect found on a species of Mimosa pg71 pg72 plate uclexiath. Aloe arborescens. Tree aloe. Class 6. Order Ihexandria monogenea. 6 chives. 1 pointal. Generic character. Calyx nullus. Corolla. Monopetala, erecta, sexfida, oblonga. Tubus gibbus. Limbi patuli, parvi, fundo nectarifero. Stamina. Filamenta sex, subulata, longitudine coralli, fer ultra, receptaculo incerta. Antheri oblongi, incumbents. Pistilum. Germen ovidum. Styla simplex, longitudine stamenum. Stigma obtusum, trifidum. Pericarpium. Capsula oblonga, trisulca, trilocularis, trivalvus. Semina pleura, angulata. Obsa variegata sola habet stigma et stamina declinata. Impalement none. Blossom. 1 petal, upright, 6 cleft, oblong. Tube gouty. Limbs spreading and small, with honey at their base. Chives. Threads 6, all shaped, the length of the blossom, and scarcely above it, inserted into the receptacle. Anthers oblong, and incumbent. Pointal. Seed bud ovate. Shaft simple, the length of the stamens. Summit obtuse, and 3-sided. Seed vessel. Capsule oblong, 3-furrowed, 3-celled, 3-valved. Seeds many and angular. Obsa variegata simply has the pointal and stamens bent downwards. Specific character. Aloe arborescens, Floribus spicatis rubescentibus, Apis viridibus, Folius perectis, Lanceolates, Carnis, Apis recurvatus, Marginibus serratis, call ad basin nudo, Supernfolius circums eso. Aloe with a tree-like stem. Flowers grow in spikes of a soft red color, green at the ends. Leaves straight out, lance-shaped, fleshy, and recurved, with sawed margins. Stem naked at the base, surrounded by the leaves on the upper part. Reference to the plate. 1 a leaf. 2 a flower spread open. 3 seed bud and pointal. 4 miniature representation of the plant. This fine tall plant has been but rarely seen in bloom near town. The specimen from which our figure was made, was sent to London by the Reverend George Reading Leves, from his collection at Bury St. Edmunds, to his friend Sir T. G. Cullum, Bart. And obligingly communicated to us by that gentleman. It grows 12 feet high, and is considered as one of the loftiest of the aloe tribe, the dichotoma and ferox excepted, the former of which is said to arrive sometimes to the enormous height of 12 feet in circumference round the stem, 20 feet high, and 400 round the extremity of the branches. Colonel Patterson, in his travels in Africa, mentions, that after crossing the Kusi or Sand River he visited a European and his family, who with their cattle had no other tenement but what nature had furnished them with in the aloe dichotoma pg 73 pg 74 plate Uckelzix. Protea coronata. Crown-flowered protea. Class 4. Order I Tetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices inserti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Sem solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea folius lanceolates, obliquus, transverse et horizontalitere situs, marginibus tomentoses, squames calicinis superioribus spathulates, angustus, tomentoses, margin piloso, incarnatus, squames infralato ovades, tomentoses, intus melliferus, caulis erectus, sesquipedalus. Protea with lance-shaped oblique leaves standing sideways in a horizontal direction, with downy edges. The upper scales of the impalement are spatula-shaped, narrow, downy, with hairy edges, and flesh-colored. The scales beneath are broadly ovate, downy, and furnished with honey on the inner side. Stem upright, 1.5 feet high. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower complete. 2. Seed bud and pointal. This protea may be regarded as an intermediate character between the P. mellifera and that fine section of Protea speciosa, and certainly, in point of beauty, deserves to be ranked among that showy division, but as the principal leading feature in the speciosas exists in the powerful feathery fringe upon the edges of the imbrication, and the present one possessing so very slight a characteristic of that description, we could not with propriety rank it amongst them. Its affinity to the P. mellifera is only in the honey-bearing character of its flowers, which, like that species, contain a quantity of nectariferous juice. The unoccupied term of coronata is adopted, from the resemblance its imbrication bears to the form of a crown, and which is more apparent in this species than in any other as yet in cultivation with us. Our figure was made from the Clapham collection pg 75 pg 76 plate CCCCLXX. Ophrys arachnoides. Spider-like Ophrys. Class XX. Order Igenandria diandria. Chives on the pointal. 2 chives. Essential generic character. Corolla 5 petala, subringens, petalis patentibus, labellum nectarii basi styli, patens. Antheri dui, terminals, adnati. Blossom 5 petals, nearly gaping, petals spreading, the lip of the honey cup comes from the base of the shaft, spreading. Chives 2, terminal, and close together. Specific character. Ophrys arachnoides, call folioso, folius lanceolates, glaucoviridibus, striatis, corales patentibus, subalbes, tribus exterioribus obtusis, duibus interioribus acutus, brevissimis, labello nectarii magno, subrotundo, fusco, convexo, villoso, Proc basin labelli dui sunt appendiculi oppositi, flavi, centrum nectarii interlineatum est, maculisque flavus notatum, et in medio marginus tuberculum carnosum. Ophrys with spider-like flowers, leaves infoliating the stem, lance-shaped, of a glaucous green and striped. Blossom spreading, and nearly white, the 3 outer ones are obtuse, the 2 inner ones pointed, and very small. The lip of the honeycup is large, nearly round, brown, convex, and hairy. Near the base of the nectary there are 2 opposite appendicules of a yellow color. The center of the honeycup is interlined, and spotted with yellow, and in the center of the margin there is a fleshy substance. Reference to the plate. 1. The blossom. 2. The same shown from the outside. 3. The honeycup. 4. Chives and pointle, magnified. This interesting species of the Orchidae family was sent from Switzerland, by Dr. Messier, to the gardens of Isaac Swainson, ESQ at Twickenham, where it flowers annually. It is said to be a native of Britain, France, Portugal, and is known by the appellation of Ophrys arachnoides, or spider-like, but is generally thought to bear a stronger analogy to the humblebee. In the Flora londinensis of Curtis, there is a figure under the title of Ophrys fuciflora very much resembling our plant in most particulars, except in the color of the flower, which is very different. The same plant is again figured in Dr. Smith's English Botany, under the specific of arenifer, and thus the plant is known both as a spider and a drone. The arachnoides may therefore be considered, if not a distinct species, as a very strong marked variety, and is at present a scarce plant. It remains so long in bloom, that the author observed it at the nursery of Messrs. Whitley and Brahms, 3 weeks after he had made the drawing, nearly as perfect as the figure represents pg 77 pg 78 plate Ucklesey. Ophrys myodes. Fly-like Ophrys. Class XX. Order Igenandria diandria. Chives on the pointle. 2 chives. Essential generic character. Corolla 5 petala, subringens, petalis patentibus, labellum nectarii basi styli, patens. Antheri dui, terminates, adnati. Blossom 5 petals, nearly gaping, petals spreading, the lip of the honeycup comes from the base of the shaft, spreading. Chives 2, terminal, and close together. Specific character. Ophrys myodes, floribus alternus, lateralibus, nectarii labio tripartito, lacinius lateralibus, lineari lanceolates, media oblonga, biloba, longer lateralibus, petalis patentibus, tribus exterioribus lanceolates, viridibus, obtusis, duobus interioribus linearibus, brevissimis, purpurace, col folioso, bulbo subrotundo. Ophrys with fly-like flowers, alternate, and lateral. The lip of the honeycup is 3-cleft, the side segments are linear, and lance-shaped, the middle one is oblong, 2-lobed, and longer than the side ones. The petals are spreading, the 3 outer ones are lance-shaped, green, and obtuse, the 2 inner ones are linear, very short, and purple, leaves infoliating the stem, bulb roundish. Reference to the plate. 1. The blossom. 2. The same shown from the outer side. 3. The honeycup. 4. The same shown from the underside. 5. Chives and pointle, magnified. Amongst the alpine plants of G. Hibbert, ESQ we met with this curious little insectivorous plant, and which, like the preceding figure, is said to be indigenous to almost all Europe. It is figured in the English Botany of Dr. Smith, but apparently from a taller plant, and differs in the color of the body. It is also represented in the Botanical Magazine, of a higher stature, but nearly the same in color. variations probably the mere effect of climate, and a different mode of culture. As they all bear an unequivocal resemblance to the fly, so exact a representation of ever so humble a species of animated nature will no doubt be always thought deserving a place in every collection. pg 79 pg 80 plate Ucklesii. Hibbertia crenata. Scalloped-leaved Hibbertia. Class 13. Order X Polyandria decagynia. Many chives. 10 pointals. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 Phyllis. Petala 5. Stamina numerosa, receptaculo incerta. Germana quinquevelda cm, desinentia in stylus, oligosperma. Impalement 5-leaved. 5 petals. Chives numerous, inserted into the receptacle. Seed buds 5 or 10, terminating in shafts, few seeded. Specific character. Hibbertia foliis crenatis, subcordatus, floribus solitaris, axillaribus, luteus, patentibus. Caulis fruticosus, ramus patentibus, numerosis, purpurace. Hibbertia with scalloped leaves nearly heart-shaped. Flowers grow singly from the insertion of the leaves, are of a yellow color, and spreading. Stem shrubby. Branches spreading, numerous, and purple. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A petal. 3. Chives and pointals. 4. Seed buds and pointals. 5. A seed bud and pointal, magnified. This is an addition to the genus Hibbertia, but differs from the H. volubilis in having 10 pointals instead of 5, and will most likely, when more of the genus are in cultivation with us, form a section under the title of Decagynia, and the original of the genus as Pentagynia, a mode frequently adopted, to prevent that confusion too often attending the formation of new genera. Under this arrangement the genus of Hibbertia will be considerably enlarged, and certainly no genus more deserves it than that which bears the name of such a liberal promoter of botanic science. Our figure represents the entire plant, from the nursery of Messrs. Colville, where it was first raised from seeds received from New South Wales. pg 81 pg 82 plate Ucklesii. Yucca gloriosa. Superb yucca. Class 6. Order I Hexandria monogynia. 6 chives. 1 pointal. Generic character. Calyx nullus. Corolla campanulata, sexpartita, unguibus coerens, Licinius ovatis, maximise, patentibus. Stamina. Filamenta sex, brevissima, superncratiora, reflexa. Antheri minimi. Pistillum. German oblongum, obtusum, triquetrum, staminibus longeus. Stylus nullus. Stigma trisulcum, obtusum, Licinius bifides, Parias. Pericarpium. Capsula oblonga, obtusa, triangularis, trilocularis, trivalvus. Semina plurima, gemino ordin incumbentia. Impalement none. Blossom bell-shaped, 6 divided, fastened together by the claws. The segments ovate, large, and spreading. Chives. 6 threads, very short, thick above, and reflexed. Tips small. Pointal. Seed bud oblong, blunt, 3-sided, longer than the chives. Shaft none. Summit 3-furrowed, obtuse. The segments are bifid, and may be passed through. Seed vessel. Capsule oblong, obtuse, 3-angled, 3-celled, 3-valved. Seeds many, 2-ranked, lying on each other. Specific character. Yucca floribunda, ramosa, patens, corales campanulates, pendules, folius ensiformibus, plicatus, Apis mucronato. Habitat in America boreale. Adam's needle, with numerous flowers branching and spreading, blossoms bell-shaped, and hanging down. Leaves sword-shaped and plated, with a mucronated point. Native of North America. Reference to the plate. 1. The end of a leaf. 2. The plant in miniature. 3. The chives and pointle. 4. Seed bud and pointle. 5. The seed bud cut transversely. Of this genus of plants there are as yet known but 4 species. The present one, from its specific title, might naturally be supposed to possess a magnificent exterior of unrivaled beauty, which is by no means the case, for although it is a grand plant when in fine bloom, the term of gloriosa must certainly be regarded as a metaphysical hyperbole, very inapplicable to any plant ever so beautiful. It is indigenous to North America, and of great utility to the natives, who make cords from the stringy texture of the leaves, and use it in the fabrication of their houses, to fasten the ends of them together. Their swinging beds, called hammocks, are also said to be made of the same materials, and most probably the sailor's bed, so well known by the appellation of hammock, derives its title from the hammock of the Indians. It is easily increased from the young shoots, which become flowering plants in about 5 years in the open ground, but if kept in the greenhouse, it might remain for 20 years without blooming, for want of sufficient air and sun to bring it to maturity. Our figure R was made from a plant 10 feet high, in luxuriant bloom, at Hedsar Lodge, the seat of Lord Boston PG 83 PG 84 Plate Uckelsiv. Ceralia pinnata. Winged-leaved Ceralia. Class 17. Order 4. Diadelphia decandria. 2 brotherhoods. 10 chives. Essential generic character. Calyx longitudine leguminous. Stamina diadelpha. Legumen monospermum, subrostratum, E-valve. Impalement the length of the pod. Chives diadelphous. Pod 1-seeded, beaked, and valveless. Specific character. Ceralia pinnata, Folius patentibus apis acutus, recurvatus, Floribus axillaribus, Peduncules longies. Ceralia with winged leaves, spreading, sharp-pointed, and recurved. The flowers grow from the axilla of the leaves upon long footstalks. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. The standard of the blossom. 3. One of the wings. 4. One of the same shown from the inside. 5. The chives. 6. The seed bud and pointle. The Ceralia pinnata is a very ornamental plant for the conservatory, and certainly deserves a colored representation. At present there are only 2 uncolored engravings of it extant, one in the Flora tetrapetal Rivinus, No. 5, the other in Hermann's Hortus Lugdunensis, Tab. 273. The Ceralias are a well-marked natural genus, and appear much more characteristic of each other than many of the papilionaceous genera. Our drawing was made from a fine specimen received from the collection of the Honorable W. Irby PG 85 PG 86 Plate CCCCLXXV. Serapias cordigera. Heart-bearing Serapias. Class XX. Order Igenandria diandria. Chives on the pointle. 2 chives. Essential generic character. Corolla 5 petala, ringens, petalis conniventibus, labello nectarii ecal carito, lamina deflexa, antheri styli longitudine, adnati. Blossom 5 petals, gaping, petals approaching together. The lip of the honeycup growing from the spur, the lip bending downwards. The chives the length of the style, and attached to it. Specific character. Serapias folius lanceolates glossus, ad basin maculates. Nectarium tripartitum, ferrugineum, Lacinius lateralibus obtusis, erectis, conniventibus, divisio media ovida, acuminata, pilosa, dependens, corales implicatus, apus invalidus, extus pallantibus, intus fusco purpurascentibus. Syruppeas with lance-shaped glaucous leaves spotted at the base. Honeycup 3 divided, and of a rusty color, the side segments obtuse, upright, and approaching, the middle division is ovate, sharp-pointed, hairy, and hanging down. Blossom folded together, and turned inwards at the point, pale-colored on the outside, and of a purple-brown on the inside. Reference to the plate. 1. The flower spread open. 2. The lip of the honeycup. 3. The chives and pointle, with the spur of the honeycup, magnified. For this luxuriant specimen of the Syruppeas cordillera we are indebted to the Right Honourable the Marquis of Blandford. It is a rare plant, of a curious structure but very sombre aspect. It is one of those numerous divisions of the class Gynandria approaching the genus Ophrys on the one side, and Neotia on the other. From the Ophrys it is not easily distinguished, but from Neotia it is separated by the difference of its habit. This plant is well known by the title of cordillera, a specific derived from the resemblance the lip of the nectarium is supposed to bear to the shape of a heart, but the analogy is certainly not very powerful. The flowers remain a considerable time in perfection. It is indigenous to Spain, Barbary, Italy, pg 87 and cpg 88 plate Uckelskzi. Melaleuca diosmifolia. Diosma-leaved Melaleuca. Class 18. Order 4. Polyadelphia polyandria. Threads in many sets. Many chives. Essential generic character. Calyx quinquefitus, semisuperus. Petala quinqua. Filamenta multa, longissima, in quinqua corpora conida. Pistillum unum. Capsula 3 locularis. Cup 5 cleft, half above. Petals 5. Threads numerous, very long, united into 5 bodies. Pointal 1. Capsule 3 cellid. See Melaleuca iricifolia, PL 175. Volume 3. Specific character. Melaleuca foliis alternatis, ovatis, reflexus, subtus punctatus, odoratis, floribus sicilibus in medio ramorum, viridibus, confertus, ramus verticillidus, patentibus. Melaleuca with alternate leaves, ovate and reflexed, punctured beneath, and sweet-scented. Flowers sessile about the middle of the branches, are of a green color, and crowded together. The branches are whorled, and spreading. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower complete. 2. A flower spread open, without the impalement. 3. One of the 5 bundles of chives. 4. Impalement, seed bud, and pointle, summit magnified. 5. A ripe seed vessel. This perfectly new species of Melaleuca was sent to us by Mr. J. Milne, botanic gardener at Fonthill, who is very successful in the cultivation of new plants. The punctured or dotted character on the underside of the leaves gives it an affinity to the Diosma tribe, as does also its scented foliage, which when rubbed emits a grateful aromatic odor, and which the leaves retain in some degree when dried. The flowers, although not splendid, are perhaps equally estimable from the rarity of their color, which is a bright green when in perfection, but in retiring they acquire a yellower tint. It is a native of New Holland, and requires the careful treatment of the greenhouse PG 89 PG 90 plate Uckelskzi. Linum venestum. Graceful linum. Class V Order V Pentandria pentagoniae. 5 chives. 5 pointals. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 phyllus. Petala 5 phylla. Capsule 5 valvus, 10 locularis. Semina solitaria. Impalement 5-leaved. Petals 5-leaved. Capsule 5-valved. 10 loculaments. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Linum folius ovatis, acutus, 5-7 nervosus, margin pilosa, floribus in umbellus paniculates, ramus alternus, corales magnus, patentibus, incarnatus. Caulis erectus, pedalus. Nascens in Monte Caucaso. Linum with ovate sharp-pointed leaves. Nerves from 5 to 7, and hairy at the edges. Flowers grow in paniculated umbels. Branches alternate. Blossom large, spreading, and flesh-colored. Branches upright, a foot high. Native of Mount Caucasus. This fine new linum was raised from seed by Mr. J. Bell, in whose garden near Brentford it has flowered for the first time in England. It is nearest in affinity to the L. hirsutum of Jacquin, under which specific title the seed was received by Mr. Bell. The flowers when dead or dried lose their fine pinky tint, and acquire a bluish color, the same as it first appears with in the bud state. It might then compare with Jacquin's figure in point of color, but would be too far removed in its appearance for us to have adopted the specific of hirsutum with any propriety. We may therefore with justice regard it as a beautiful nondescript species. It is a native of Mount Caucasus, flowers in June and July, and seeds so freely that it will no doubt be soon abundantly cultivated. Pg 91 Pg 92 Plate Ucklesxiath. Crinum latifolium. Broad-leaved crinum. Class 6. Order Ihexandria monogenea. 6 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla supra, infundibuliformis, sexpartita, equalis, filamenta fossi tubi incerta, semina ad basin corollarum, vivipara. Blossom above, funnel-shaped, 6-parted, equal, threads inserted into the mouth of the tube, seeds at the base of the blossoms, viviparous. Specific character. Crinum latifolium, undulatum, glabrum, lucidum, spatha multiflora, tubocoralli lacinius longor, qui mucronati sunt, post fluorescentium capsula crescit in bulbum magnum, et plantum format futurum. Habitat in Indii orientalis arenosus. Crinum with broad, waved, smooth, shining leaves, sheath many-flowered, the tube of the blossom longer than the segments, which are pointed, and after flowering, the capsule swells into a large bulb, and forms the future plant. Native of the sandy parts of the East Indies. Reference to the plate. 1. A leaf. 2. The plant in miniature. 3. The chives, as attached to the tube of the flower. 4. Seed bud and pointal. 5. The seed bud, or bulb, inflated, as it appears after flowering. 6. The same stripped of its outer covering. The Crinum latifolium is certainly one of the most attractive of the genus, as, in addition to the fine red color of its flowers, it possesses an aromatic odor of agreeable fragrance. It is a bulb bearer, as are all of this genus, although several of them have been placed erroneously amongst the genus Amaryllis, which does not bear bulbs. The genus Crinum, at present a short one, will therefore, with a good grace, admit a few additions, whilst that of Amaryllis, already very extended, will receive no injury by a slight curtailment. It is a native of the dry sandy parts of the East Indies, and was introduced by Mr. Lambert in the year 1803, but has not flowered till this summer, a period of 4 years. But there is little doubt of its now blooming annually, as it is not uncommon for bulbs imported from a great distance to enjoy a state of quiescence after their arrival. Our figure was made from a fine plant in luxuriant bloom in the hot stove of J. Veer, ESQ PG 93 PG 94 Plate Ucklesix. Fragaria indica. Indian strawberry. Class XXII. Order Vicosandria polygynia. 20 chives. Many pointals. Generic character. Calyx. Perianthium monophyllum, planum, Disemphitum, Lacinius alternatum exterioribus, angustioribus. Corolla. Petala quinqua, subrotunda, patentia, calici incerta. Stamina. Filamenta viginti, subulata, corolla brevura, calici incerta. Antheri lunularis. Pistillum. Germana numerosa, minima, in capitulum collecta. Styli simplices, latera germinus inserti. Stigmata simplicia. Pericarpium nullum. Bacca fit receptaculum commune seminum, rotundo ovida, pulposa, mollis, magna, colorata, basi truncata, decidua. Semina numerosa, minima, per superficium receptaculi sparsa. Impalement. Cup 1-leafed, flat, 10-cleft, the segments are alternately exterior, and narrowed. Blossom 5-petaled, nearly round, spreading, and inserted into the calyx. Chives. Threads 20, all shaped, shorter than the blossom, inserted into the calyx. Tips like a half moon. Pointal. Seed buds numerous and small, collected into a head. Shaft simple, inserted into the side of the germ. Summit simple. Seed vessel none. The berry becomes the common receptacle for the seeds, is of a round ovate form, pulpy, soft, large, and colored, cut off at the base, and deciduous. Seeds numerous, small, on the outside of the receptacle, scattered. Specific character. Fragaria foliis tripartitis, folioles ovatis, acutus, crenatis, petioles longies, calice disemphido, infern piloso, quinqua exterioribus rotundae tis, crenatis, interioribus ovatis, acutus, peduncules longies, floribus luteus, fructia rubro, insipido. Rami pilosi, repens. Strawberry with 3 divided leaves, leaflets ovate, pointed, and scalloped, footstalks long, impalement 10-cleft, and hairy beneath. The 5 outer ones are rounded and notched, the inner ones are ovate, and pointed, peduncles long, flowers yellow, fruit red and insipid. Branches hairy, and creeping. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement, seed buds, chives, and pointals. 2. The same shown from the underside. 3. A petal. 4. Seed buds, chives, and pointals. 5. A seed bud and pointal. 6. The same magnified. 7. A seed bud from the ripe fruit. 8. The same magnified. This new species of Fragaria, from the lively yellow flowers and brilliance of its fine red fruit, is desirable as an ornamental plant, but is in no other respect estimable, from the insipidity of its fruit, which is entirely destitute of flavor. It is a native of the northeast parts of Bengal. Our figure was made from the only plant that has as yet flowered in England, in the gardens of the Honourable C. Greville PG 95 PG 96 plate CCCCLXXX. Vaccinium nitidum. Shining-leaved whortleberry. Class 8. Order Ioctandria monogenea. 8 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx superus. Corolla monopetala. Filamenta receptaculo incerta. Bacca quadrilocularis, polysperma. Cup superior. Blossom of 1 petal. Threads fixed to the receptacle. A berry with 4 cells, and many seeds. See volume IPL_XX. Vaccinium arctostaphylos. Specific character. Vaccinium folius nitidus, ovates, acutus, obsolete serratis, floribus umbellates, terminalibus, pendules, corales subcylindraces. Staminata cm, ramus oppositus, alternatis. Caulis pedalis, erectus. Whortleberry with shining leaves, egg-shaped, sharp-pointed, and obscurely sawed. Flowers grow in umbels, terminal and pendulous, blossom nearly cylindrical, chives 10, branches opposite, and alternate. Stem a foot high, and upright. Reference to the plate. 1. The blossoms spread open. 2. The chives spread. 3. A chive magnified. 4. Impalement, seed bud, and pointle. The Vaccinium nitidum is one of the handsomest species, but not so often to be met with as many of the genus. It is nearly allied in its foliage to the V. crassifolium, for, if leaves of both were detached, and mixed together, they might be easily mistaken. The habits of the plants are, however, very distinct, as is also the shape of the flowers. During the month of May and beginning of June this plant is in the greatest perfection. After that period the flowers lose much of their fine red color. Our figure was made from a beautiful little shrub, above a foot high, in the nursery of Messrs. Whitley and Bram's PG 97 PG 98 plate Ucklesksy. Cinchona caribea. West India bark tree. Class V Order 2. Pentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointle. Generic character. Calyx. Periantheum monophyllum, superum, campanulatum, 5 dentatum, persistens. Corolla monopetala, infundibuliformis, 5 partita. Stamina. Filamenta 5, minima, and 3 oblongi, intrafaucium coralli. Pistillum. Germen subrotundum, infirm. Stylus longitudine coralli. Stigma crassiusculum, oblongum, simplex. Pericarpium. Capsula oblonga, bipartita, calice coronata, in duas partes dehiscens, partes interiores dehiscentes, decepimento parallelo. Semina plura, oblonga, compressa, marginata. Impalement. Cup 1-leafed, above, bell-shaped, 5-toothed, and remaining. Blossom 1 petal, funnel-shaped, and 5-parted. Chives. Threads 5, small, tips oblong, within the mouth of the blossom. Pointle. Seed bud nearly round, beneath. Shaft the length of the corolla. Summit thickish, oblong, and simple. Seed vessel. Capsule oblong, in 2 parts, crowned by the cup, the 2 parts cleaving together, the inner parts gaping, with equal disapement. Seeds many, oblong, compressed, and emarginated. Specific character. Cinchona folius alternatis, ovates, acuminates, integerrimes, glabrous, venosus, interfolia stipula parva, colli ad pressa, floribus axillaribus, simplicibus, albicantibus, glabrous, odoratissimis. Rami alternati, oppositi. Habitat in Caribeus, Succedaneum cordyci peruviano. Cinchona with alternate leaves, sharp-pointed, entire, smooth, and veined. Between the leaves there is a small stipula pressed to the stem, flowers axillary, and single, of a whitish color, smooth, and very sweet-scented, branches alternate, and opposite. Native of the Caribbean islands, as bark, substituted for the Peruvian species. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower spread open. 2. The impalement, seed bud, and pointle. 3. A capsule. This specimen of the Cinchona caribea, or Jesuit's bark of Jamaica, was communicated to the author by A. B. Lambert, Esq., who raised it from seed, and with whom it has flowered for the first time in this kingdom. Opinions are various as to the time and means by which the medicinal virtues of the Peruvian bark were first discovered, but as the discovery of most very useful things is generally the effect of chance, Geoffroy's account of it, as given in the Medical Botany of Dr. Woodville, is certainly the most natural, who states it to have been occasioned by some cinchona trees having been blown into a pool of water, and lying there till the water became so bitter that nobody would drink it, till one of the neighboring inhabitants being seized with a violent paroxysm of fever, and having no other water, drank of this, and was perfectly cured. He prevailed on some of his friends, who were ill, to make use of the same remedy, and it proved successful. But the use of it was little known till the year 1638, when a signal cure being performed on the Countess del Cinchon, the lady of a Spanish viceroy at Lima, from whom it derives its generic title, it came into general use, and a large quantity of the bark was by that lady distributed amongst the Jesuits, in whose hands it increased in reputation, and was by them first introduced into Europe. The Caribbean species is said to be an excellent substitute for the Peruvian bark, and therefore a most valuable acquisition to us, as Mr. Lambert, in his description of the genus Cinchona, informs us that well-grounded fears are entertained of the Peruvian species being some day lost to us, as, from the extreme decortication they have experienced, they are nearly extinct in those parts where they were formerly most abundant. Pg 99 Pg 100 Plate Ucklesxi. Dianthus alpinus. Alpine pink. Class 6. Order 2. Dicandria digynia. 10 chives. 2 pointals. Generic character. Calyx. Perianthium cylindricum, tubulosum, striatum, persistens, os5 dentatum, basi squamules quachu or cinctum, quarum interdum dui oppositi, inferiors. Corolla. Petala 5. Unguis longitudine calycis, angusti, receptaculo inserti, limbus extus planus, laminis late obtusis, crenatis. Stamina. Filamenta de cm, subulata, longitudine calycis, antheri ovals, oblongi, compresi, incumbents. Pistillum. Germen ovale. Styli duo, subulati, stamenibus longores. Stigmata recurvata, acuminata. Pericarpium. Capsula cylindrica, recta, unilocularis, quadrilateralis, apus dehiscens. Semina plurima, compressa, subrotunda, a receptaculo librata. Impalement cylindrical, tubular, lined, remaining, the mouth is 5-toothed, surrounded by 4 squammi at the base, or sometimes 2 opposite ones beneath. Blossom 5 petals, the claws the length of the calyx, narrow, and inserted into the receptacle, border flat without, broadly obtuse, and notched. Chives. 10 threads, all shaped, the length of the calyx, tips oval, oblong, compressed, and incumbent. Pointal. Seed bud oval. Shafts 2, all shaped, and longer than the chives. Summit recurved, and pointed. Seed vessel. Capsule cylindrical, straight, 1 loculament, 4-sided, and splitting at the end. Seeds many, compressed, nearly round, and freed from the receptacle. Specific character. Dianthus alpinus. Frutex pygmaeus, elegans, folius oppositus, alternus, linearibus, cavetis, brevibus, Floribus terminalibus, rubris, in medio circulo albo. Alpine pink. An elegant dwarf shrub, with opposite alternate leaves, linear, curved, and short. Flowers terminal and red, with a small circle of white in the center reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A petal shown from the underside. 3. Seed bud, chives, and pointils. 4. The chives spread open. 5. Seed bud and pointils. 6. The seed bud cut transversely. The Dianthus alpinus is a very scarce plant, little known, and rarely to be met with in any collection, although its beauty renders it deserving a place in every one, and its size would never exclude it from any. Our figure represents the entire plant, from the collection of Isaac Swainson, ESQ, who raised it from seed which he received from Germany. The only colored representation of it extant is in the Flora Austriaca of Jacquin, from a native specimen, and of no greater magnitude than our figure represents a diminutive stature, particularly characteristic of the true alpine pink PG 101 PG 102 plate Uckelskseeth. Dahlia pinnatanana. Dwarf winged leaved dahlia. Class 19. Order 2. Syngenacea polygamia superflua. Tips united. Superfluous pointils. Essential generic character. Calyx duplex. Corolla radiata, radius lacinias calycis numero equantibus, corolloli pedicellatae. Receptaculum paleaceum. Stigmata plumosa. Impalement double. Blossom radiated, with the rays equaling in number the segments of the impalement, the florets pedicellid. Receptacle chaffy. Summit plumose. Specific character. Dahlia foliis pinnatis, pinulis quinqua, ovatis, acutus, dentatis, floribus duplicibus, caulis humilis. Dahlia with pinnated leaves, the pinnules 5, ovate, pointed, and toothed, flowers double, stem low. Reference to the plate. 1. One of the radiating florets. 2. A floret of the disc with its scale. 3. A flower spread open. 4. Seed bud and pointil, summit magnified. This double-flowered dwarf dahlia is certainly the most attractive of the genus. It is supposed to be only a variety of the D. pinnata, but the variation is almost powerful enough to constitute a species, as, besides the difference in its flowers, we have never found it arrive to more than half the height of the pinnata, although we have seen it every autumn for 4 years in luxuriant bloom. At present it is a scarce plant, and appears to be not quite so hardy as the taller species, nor so easily increased. Our figure was made from a plant in the collection of the Right Honourable Lady Holland, at Holland House, Kensington PG 103 PG 104 plate Uckelsksev. Nicotiana glutinosa. Clammy tobacco. Class V order Ipentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointil. Generic character. Calyx. Periantheum monophyllum, ovidum, 5 phytum, persistens. Corolla monopetala, infundibuliformis, tubus calice longer, limbus patulus, 5 fidus, 5 plicatus. Stamina. Filamenta quinqua, subulata, vix longitudine corollas, ascendentia, antheri oblongi. Pistilum. Germen ovidum. Stylus filiformis, longitudine corolli. Stigma capitatum, emarginatum. Pericarpium. Capsula subovida, linea Cranke insculpta, bilocularis, bivalvus, apus dehiscens, receptaculum dimidiatum, ovidum, punctatum, dissepimentus affixus. Semina numerosa, reniformia, rugosa. Impalement. Cup 1 leafed, ovate, 5 cleft, and remaining. Blossom 1 petal, funnel-shaped, tube longer than the calyx, segments spreading, 5 cleft, 5 plated. Chives. Threads 5, all shaped, scarcely the length of the blossom, and ascending, tips oblong. Pointal. Seed bud ovate. Shaft thread shaped, the length of the blossom. Summit headed, and emarginated. Seed vessel. Capsule nearly egg-shaped, with a line imprinted on both sides, 2 loculaments, 2 valves, splitting at the point, receptacle halfway divided, ovate, and dotted, disapements cleaving together. Seeds numerous, kidney-shaped, and rough. Specific character. Nicotiana foliis petiolatus, subcordatus, glandules minutus viscosus circumcessus, floribus alternus, solitaris, ad partum superam ramorum, corolla campanulata, pallid purpurea, viscosa, ramus glandules minutus tectis, viscosus. Habitat in Peru. Tobacco with petiolated and nearly heart-shaped leaves, beset with minute viscous glands. Flowers grow solitary and alternate on the upper part of the branches, blossom bell-shaped, of a pale purple, and viscous, the branches covered with glands very small, and clammy. Native of Peru. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. The blossom spread. 3. Seed bud and pointal. This species of Nicotiana is called the Spanish tobacco, and although we cannot exactly ascertain whether it is cultivated for the purpose of manufacturing into tobacco or snuff, yet there is little doubt of that being the case. The general appearance of this species very much resembles the common tobacco plant, so well known. The most ostensible difference appears to exist in the glutinous character of the present species, whose stalks, leaves, and flowers are beset by numerous little glands, that emit a viscid juice. There is not much beauty attached to it, but, as a scarce and unfigured species, it well deserves a representation, as would any species of a genus that forms so considerable a branch in the commerce of a mercantile country. Our figure was made from a fine specimen received from A. B. Lambert, ESQ PG 105 PG 106 plate CCCCLXXXV. Melaleuca salicifolia. Willow-leaved Melaleuca. Class 18. Order 4. Polyadelphia polyandria. Threads in many sets. Many chives. Essential generic character. Calyx quinquefitus, semisuperus. Petala quinqua. Filamenta multa, longissima, in quinqua corpora conida. Pistillum unum. Capsula 3 locularis. Cup 5 cleft, half above. Petals 5. Threads numerous, very long, united into 5 bodies. Pointal 1. Capsule 3 cellid. See Melaleuca iricifolia, PL 175. Volume 3. Specific character. Melaleuca foliis oppositis, lanceolates, punctatus, floribus paniculates, corales luteus, magnus, et patentibus, ramus oppositis, alternates, caulis erectus. Melaleuca with opposite lance-shaped leaves, dotted, flowers grow in panicles, blossoms yellow, large and spreading, branches opposite, and alternate, stem upright. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower complete, spread open. 2. The same shown from the outside. 3. One of the bundles of chives. 4. Impalement, seed bud, and pointal. Very few species of plants revolt so much in appearance from their original genus as the present one, whose exterior bears very little resemblance to Melaleuca, although, upon examination, it perfectly accords in every particular. It is a native of New Holland, and, we are informed, was first raised from seed by Mr. Barr, nurseryman at Ball's Pond, Islington. Our figure was made from a plant in fine bloom at the nursery of Messrs. Whitley and Bram's PG 107 PG 108 Plate Ucklesksy. Paeonia dorica. Doric peony. Class 13. Order 2. Polyandria digynia. Many chives. 2 pointals. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 Phyllis. Petala 5. Stylus 0. Capsule polyspermy. Cup 5 leaved. Petals 5. Pointal none. Capsules many seeded. Specific character. Paeonia foliis pinnatis, folioles subovates, glossus, floribus rubropurpurace, caulis herbaceous, biptalis. Peony with winged leaves, the leaflets are nearly egg-shaped, and glaucous, flowers of a red-purple, stem herbaceous, and about 2 feet high. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement and seed buds. 2. A chive. 3. The seed buds as they appear when the seeds are nearly perfect. This fine peony is at present a scarce plant, nor is there any figure of it extant, if not in the Flora Russica of Dr. Pallas. The specimen our figure represents was received from Mr. J. Bell, who raised it from seed, and with whom it has flowered for the first time in this country. It may with propriety be ranked among the most attractive of the herbaceous species. The flowers expand in the early part of summer, and from the cold climate whence it is indigenous, little doubt need be entertained of its resisting our winter, if it can but endure the sudden changes of weather to which this island is subject, a transition that frequently proves more fatal to plants the natives of a cold northern clime, than to those of southern origin. PG 109 PG 110 Plate Ucklesksii. Xeranthemum herbaceum. Herbaceous eternal flower. Class 19. Order 2. Syngenesis polygamia superflua. Tips united. Superfluous pointals. Essential generic character. Receptaculum paleaceum, aut nudum. Pupusita sers. Calyx imbricatus, radiatus, radiocolorato. Receptacle chaffy, or naked. Feather bristly. Impalement tiled, rayed, the ray-colored. Specific character. Xeranthemum herbaceum, folius amplexicolobus, oblonges, margin revolutus, lana albitectes, floribus terminalibus, solitaris, pallidorantius, nitidicimes, squami inferi fulvescentes. Xeranthemum with an herbaceous stem, leaves embracing the stem, oblong, rolled back at the edges, and covered with a white wool. Flowers terminate the branches singly, are of a pale gold color, and very shining, the lower scales are of a foxy tint. Reference to the plate. 1. One of the radiating scales. 2. A floret of the disc. 3. The chives and pointal. 4. Leaf of a variety. This handsome species of Xeranthemum may be regarded as truly herbaceous, as the plant not only dies down annually, but even whilst living keeps constantly sending up fresh shoots from the root. The white appearance of the leaves is owing to their being enveloped by a kind of wool, but there are 2 varieties, the one whose foliage is almost without this woolly coat, and the other entirely divested of it, and of a rich green color, but in every other particular the plants are all exactly alike. Our figure was made from a small plant in fine flower in the conservatory of G. Hibbert, ESQ PG 111 PG 112 Plate Ucklesksii. Brusontia papyrifer. Paper mulberry. Class XXII. Order 4. Dioecia tetrandria. Chives and pointals on different plants. 4 chives. Generic character. Asterisk masculi flores. Amentum cylindraceum. Calyx fourpertitus. Corolla nulla. Asterisk feminae flores. Amentum globosum, floribus undictectum. Calyx inferus, persistens, 3 scu4 dentatus. Corolla nulla. Stylus filiformis. Fructus cylindratio-clavitus, apis bilabiatus. Semen nudum ad apicem fructus. Asterisk male flowers. Catkin cylindrical. Impalement 4 divided. Blossom none. Asterisk female flowers. Catkin globular, covered all over by flowers. Impalement beneath and remaining, 3 sometimes 4-toothed. Blossom none. Shaft thread-shaped. Fruit cylindrically club-shaped, and two-lipped at the point. Seed naked at the point of the fruit. Brusontia papyrifer. Vent. Tabveget wild. SPPL specific character. Brusontia foliis trivel quinquilobes, acutus, serratis, suprascabrous, subtus pubescentibus. Brusontia with leaves from 3 to 5 lobed, pointed, sawed, rough on the upper surface, and softly haired beneath. Reference to the plate. Male plant. 1. An impalement and chives, in an infant state. 2. The same magnified. 3. An impalement and chives in perfection. 4. The same magnified. Female plant. 1. The catkin with the pointle detached. 2. A section of the same when in fruit. 3. One of the florets with the seed detached. 4. A seed cut in two, and magnified. This useful plant is the Morus papyrifer of Linnaeus, but certainly would not have been so called by him, had both, the male and female plant come under his inspection, as it does not belong either to the class or order of the mulberry. Neither of the plants, when in bloom, possesses much beauty, but they have rather a somber aspect, yet the female plant, when in fruit, is certainly very handsome. In Japan and the South Sea Islands, where it is indigenous, the bark of it serves to make a clothing for the natives. In Japan, it not only makes cloth for them, but all the Japanese paper is made from the bark of it. There are 4 sorts. The first is a royal size, of a square form, very smooth, and painted on one side. The second is a fine letter paper, in sheets often 3 feet long. The third is used for covering their best varnished articles, and so fine as sometimes to look like a spider's web. The fourth is a common writing paper, varying in size and form. The process of its manufacture is by cutting off the shoots after the leaves fall, and boiling them till the bark separates. It is then peeled off, and steeped 3 or 4 hours in water, to purify, and the black outer cuticle, and green matter within, are scraped off and separated, according to their qualities. It is again boiled with a little ashes, and stirred with a bamboo stick, and the boiling is complete when its downy fibers can be separated with a touch of the finger. It is then agitated in water till it appears like a lump of tow, and again beat with camphor wood battens, and strained, for the coarser paper. An infusion of the roots of the hibiscus manihot, or the leaves of Rivaria japonica, with the flour of Japan rice, is then mixed with it, and poured on their molds, which are not, like ours, formed of wire, but of fine rushes, and the sheets laid on a matted table with a fine shred of bamboo between each, and covered by a board with a stone upon it, to squeeze out the water, dried the next day singly on flat boards, and then packed up for sale. Our figure was made from fine plants in the garden of J. Veer, ESQ PG 113 PG 114 Plate Uckelsk. Gnaphalium grandiflorum. Large flowered Gnaphalium. Class 19. Order 2. Syngenesia polygamia superflua. Tips united. Superfluous polygamy. Essential generic character. Receptaculum nudum. Puppus pilosus, vel plumosus. Calyx imbricatus, radiatus, radiocolorado. Receptacle naked. Down hairy, or feathery. Impalement imbricated, rayed, with the ray-colored. Specific character. Gnaphalium grandiflorum, Floribus paniculates, albes, lucides, peduncules albes, lanates, folius ovito acutus, albalonatectes. Gnaphalium with large flowers, flowers grow in panicles, white, and shining, footstalks white, and woolly, leaves are ovate pointed, and covered with a white wool. Reference to the plate. 1. A scale of the impalement. 2. The same shown from the underside. 3. A flower complete. 4. The same magnified. 5. The seed bud, chives, and pointle magnified. 6. Seed bud and pointle. 7. The same magnified. This Gnaphalium is at present the largest flowering species, the G. eximium excepted. Its flowers are equally durable with those of any xeranthemum, nor does it vary essentially in any particular from that genus, as a section of which it would have been much better understood. The genus Helichrysum we find, upon examination, to be built upon the same equivocal ground, and there is little doubt but at some future period those two superfluous genera will fall into the old Linnaean genus of Xeranthemum. Our figure was made from a fine plant in the Clapham collection, about 1.5 feet high. We have seen it grow much taller, but it is not then so handsome. It is certainly not a new plant, but has not been as yet figured in any modern publication. The whiteness so prevalent in its flowers and leaves, by way of contrast to the green foliage of most other plants, would render it deserving a place in every collection, even if its long-lived shining flowers were not a sufficient recommendation. Pg 115 Pg 116 Plate CCCCXC. Pontideria dilatata. Dilated Pontideria. Class 6. Order Ihexandria monogenea. 6 chives. 1 pointle. Generic character. Calyx. Spatha communis, oblonga, latera dehiscens. Corolla monopetala, 6 phyta. Stamina. Filamenta sex, Coralli incerta. Antheri oblongi. Pistillum. Germen oblongum, infirm. Styla simplex. Pericarpium. Capsula trilocularis, triangularis. Semina plurima. OBS. In quibus dam specievus germen est superum, in aliis infirm. Impalement. Spathe common, oblong, opening sideways. Blossom 1-petaled, 6-cleft. Chives. Thread 6, inserted into the blossom. Tips oblong. Pointle. Seed bud oblong, beneath. Shaft simple. Seed vessel. Capsule 3-locular, 3-angled. Seeds many. OBS. In some species the seed bud is above, in others beneath. Specific character. Pontideria germen supero, folius sagittatus, obtusis, vel acutus, floribus umbulatis, confertus, cerulis. Habitat in India Orientali. Pontideria with the seed buds above, leaves arrow-shaped, obtuse, or pointed, flowers in crowded umbels, of a blue color. Native of the East Indies. Reference to the plate. 1. A blossom spread open. 2. Seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. 3. The plant in miniature. This handsome aquatic is a native of the East Indies, and figured in Colonel Sims's embassy to the Kingdom of Ava, under the title of Pontideria dilatata. On examining some plants in the hothouse of J. Veer, ESQ, whence our figure was taken, we observed so much variation in them, that we are inclined to think the P. hastata of Dr. Roxburgh's Coromandel plants represents, from a weak plant, the same species our figure delineates Pg 117 Pg 118 plate uxi. Gardenia radicans. Rooting gardenia. Class V order Ipentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx 1 phyllis, 5 fidus, persistens. Corolla cont orda, monopetala, 5 partita. Stamina. Filamenta nulla. Antheri quinqua. Bacca in furrow, 2 locularis, polysperma. Stylus elevatus, bilobus. Impalement 1-leafed, 5-parted, and remaining. Blossom twisted, 1-leafed, 5-parted. Chives. Threads none. Tips 5. Berry beneath, 2 loculaments, many-seeded. Shaft above, 2-lobed. Specific character. Gardenia folius lanceolates, Corales hippocrateriformibus, albis, odoratissimis, calice angulato, col radicante. Gardenia with lance-shaped leaves, blossom pitcher-shaped, white, and very sweet-scented, cup angular, stem rooting. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. The blossom spread open. 3. Seed bud and pointal. The Gardenia radiorans is a native of Japan, and is figured by Thunberg in his botanical dissertation. The figure is small and coarse, but yet characteristic. We have represented a fine young plant, as its fragrant flowers are then much better relieved by the surrounding leaves. It is at present cultivated in the hothouse, but we are inclined to think it might succeed in the protection of the greenhouse. The luxuriance of its petals frequently absorbs nearly all the parts of fructification. But our specimen fortunately afforded 3 antheri out of the 5, and the pointal entire. Our figure was made from a plant in the nursery of Messrs. Whitley and Bram's Pg 119 Pg 120 plate uxki. Oxylobium cordifolium. Heart-leaved Oxylobium. Class X order Idicandria monogenea. 10 chives. 1 pointal. Generic character. Calyx simplex, quinquipartitus. Corolla papilionacea. Styla subulatus. Stigma obtusum. Legumen ovatoacuminatum, apis compressum, polyspermum. Impalement simple, 5-parted. Blossom butterfly-shaped. Shaft awl-shaped. Summit blunt. Pod pointedly egg-shaped, compressed at the end, and many-seeded. Reference to the plate. 1. A leaf magnified. 2. The impalement. 3. The standard. 4. A back view of the same. 5. One of the wings. 6. The keel. 7. The chives. 8. The same spread open, 1 tip magnified. 9. Seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. 10. A ripe seed vessel. 11. The same spread open. Plants of a papilionaceous character furnish the most frequent opportunity for generic divisions. 9 genera have already been made by Dr. Smith and others to contain the butterfly flowers of New Holland. Our little novelty agrees with neither. From Pultenia, Aotus, Merbelia, and Dilwinia, it differs in the pod not being 2-seeded. The 2 last genera have also the cups 2-lipped, and the first with appendages attached to it. Gompholobium has a globular pod, and Charisma an oblong one and a bilabiate calyx. Daviacea, Viminaria, and Sphaerolobium have pods 1-seeded. Thus situated, we are under the necessity of adding 1 more to the number of genera, perhaps already too extended. We have never seen it exceed a foot in height. The foliage is mostly in whorls, and the stem, leaves, cups, and fruits are hairy. Our figure represents one of the plants from the nursery of Messrs. Lodge, who first raised it from seed, and where we observed its brilliant little flowers in successive bloom for at least 6 months. Pg 121 Pg 122 Index to the plants contained in Vol. 7 Plate 433 Agave americana Great American Aloe. H. shrub. September. 434 Pultenia Nanodwarf Pultenia. H. shrub. All summer. 435 Verbena mutabilis changeable flowered vervain H. shrub. All the year. 436 Corea viridiflora green flowered Coreag. H. shrub. March. 437 Protea canaliculata Conald leaved Protea G. H. shrub. December. 438 Protea speciosa showy Protea G. H. shrub. December. 439 Staplia orbicularis orbicularis Staplia G. H. shrub. December. 440 Sephora serisi silky leaved Sephora G. H. shrub. December. 441 Epidendrum fuscatum brown flowered Epidendrum H. shrub. June. 442 Protea pulchula, various speciosa waved-leaved Protea, specious variety G. H. shrub. April. 443 Erythrina speciosa showy Erythrina H. shrub. April. 444 Lobila hirsuta hairy Lobila G. H. shrub. March. 445 Epidendrum linearia linear-leaved Epidendrum H. shrub. July. 446 Dolichos hirsuta sherry stem Dolichos H. shrub. August. 447 Protea argentiflora silveri flowered Protea G. H. shrub. August. 448 Paeonia subfruticosa, various flor purpureo shrubby Pinoia, purple flowered variety G. H. shrub. April. 449 Linum trigonum 3 styled golden flax G. H. shrub. April. 450 Albuca fastigia talavel topped Albuca G. H. bulb. July. 451 Diosma iricifolia heath-leaved Diosma G. H. shrub. All the year. 452 Acania mollisoft haired-leaved Acania H. shrub. July. 453 Proteoripans creeping Protea G. H. shrub. June. 454 Urtica baxiferae bearing nettle H. shrub. June. 455 Polygala mixed Polygala G. H. shrub. All the year. 456 Lachan alia flavae allow flowered Lachanalia G. H. bulb. June. 457 Banksia spinulosa eterni-leaved Banksia G. H. shrub. All summer. 458 Eugenia malaxensis Malay apple tree. H. tree. July. 459 Lagiopetalum ferruginea yumo cleaved Lagiopetalum G. H. shrub. June. 460 Lachan alia sessiliflores essil flowered Lachanalia G. H. bulb. July. 461 Protea terretifolia cylindra cleaved Protea G. H. shrub. June. 462 Malus japonica scarlet flowering Japan apple har. Shrub. June. 463 Paeonia pupavaraceae poppy like Paeonig. H. shrub. July. 464 Diosma ovata oval-leaved Diosma G. H. shrub. May. 465 Protea divaricata straddling-leaved Protea G. H. shrub. July. 466 Goodenia tenulis lender Goodenia G. H. shrub. June. 467 Lythrum fruticosum shrubby Lythrum G. H. shrub. All summer. 468 Aloe arborescens tree Aloe H. H. shrub. June. 469 Protea coronata crown-flowered Protea G. H. shrub. July. 470 Ophrys arachnoid spider-like Ophrys G. H. shrub. July. 471 Ophrys myodes fly-like Ophrys G. H. shrub. July. 472 Hibbertia crenata scalloped-leaved Hibbertia G. H. shrub. July. 473 Yucca gloriosa superb Yucca har. Shrub. July. 474 Ceralia pinnate-leaved Ceralia G. H. shrub. July. 475 Serapeas cordigera heart-bearing Serapeas H. H. shrub. June. 476 Melaleuca diosma foliatiosma leaved Melaleuca G. H. shrub. July. 477 Linum venestum graceful Linum har. Shrub. July. 478 Crinum latifolium broad-leaved Crinum H. H. bulb. August. 479 Fragaria indica Indian strawberry har. Herb. July. 480 Vaccinium nitidums Heining-leaved whortleberry har. Shrub. June. 481 Cinchona caribe West India bark tree. H. shrub. August. 482 Dianthus alpinus alpine pink G. H. shrub. July. 483 Dahlia pinnata nana dwarf winged leaved Dahlia G. H. herb. September. 484 Nicotiana glutinosa clammy tobacco G. H. herb. August. 485 Melaleuca salicifolia aloe-leaved Melaleuca G. H. shrub. July. 486 Paeonia doric peony har. Herb. June. 487 Xeranthemum herbaceous eternal flower G. H. herb. All summer. 488 Brasontia papyrifera paper mulberry har. Shrub. June. 489 Gnaphalium grandiflorum large flowered Gnaphalium G. H. shrub. August. 490 Pontideria dilatated ilated Pontideria H. H. aquatic. September. 491 Gardenia radicans rooting Gardenia H. H. shrub. August. 492 Oxylobium cordifolium heart-leaved Oxylobium G. H. shrub. July. Aerata. Plate 438 red 433. 467 Instead of Lythrum of Linnaeus, read Lythrum fruticosum of Linnaeus. 468 line 4 From the bottom instead of height read size. End of the Project Gutenberg ebook The Botanist's Repository for New and Rare Plants, Vol. 07 of 10 updated editions will replace the previous one. The old editions will be renamed. Creating the works from print editions not protected by U.S. copyright law means that no one owns a United States copyright in these works, so the Foundation, and you, can copy and distribute it in the United States without permission and without paying copyright royalties. Special rules: set forth in the general terms of use part of this license, apply to copying and distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark concept and trademark. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark, and may not be used if you charge for an ebook, except by following the terms of the trademark license, including paying royalties for use of the Project Gutenberg trademark. If you do not charge anything for copies of this ebook, complying with the trademark license is very easy. You may use this ebook for nearly any purpose such as creation of derivative works, reports, performances, and research. Project Gutenberg ebooks may be modified and printed and given away. You may do practically anything in the United States with ebooks not protected by U.S. copyright law. Redistribution is subject to the trademark license, especially commercial redistribution. Start. Full license. The full Project Gutenberg license. Please read this before you distribute or use this work to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting the free distribution of electronic works. By using or distributing this work, or any other work associated in any way with the phrase Project Gutenberg, you agree to comply with all the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license available with this file or online at www.gutenberg.org/license. Section 1. General Terms of Use and Redistributing Project Gutenberg Trademark Electronic Works 1.a. By reading or using any part of this Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work, you indicate that you have read, understand, agree to and accept all the terms of this license and intellectual property, trademark/copyright, agreement. If you do not agree to abide by all the terms of this agreement, you must cease using and return or destroy all copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in your possession. If you paid a fee for obtaining a copy of or access to a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work and you do not agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement, you may obtain a refund from the person or entity to whom you paid the fee as set forth in paragraph 1.e.8. 1.b. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark. It may only be used on or associated in any way with an electronic work by people who agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement. There are a few things that you can do with most Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works even without complying with the full terms of this agreement. See paragraph 1.c below. There are a lot of things you can do with Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works if you follow the terms of this agreement and help preserve free future access to Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. See paragraph 1.e below. 1.c. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the foundation or PGLOF, owns a compilation copyright in the collection of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. Nearly all the individual works in the collection are in the public domain in the United States. If an individual work is unprotected by copyright law in the United States and you are located in the United States, we do not claim a right to prevent you from copying, distributing, performing, displaying, or creating derivative works based on the work as long as all references to Project Gutenberg are removed. Of course, we hope that you will support the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting free access to electronic works by freely sharing Project Gutenberg trademark works in compliance with the terms of this agreement for keeping the Project Gutenberg trademark name associated with the work. You can easily comply with the terms of this agreement by keeping this work in the same format with its attached full Project Gutenberg trademark license when you share it without charge with others. 1.d. The copyright laws of the place where you are located also govern what you can do with this work. Copyright laws in most countries are in a constant state of change. If you are outside the United States, check the laws of your country in addition to the terms of this agreement before downloading, copying, displaying, performing, distributing or creating derivative works based on this work or any other Project Gutenberg trademark work. The Foundation makes no representations concerning the copyright status of any work in any country other than the United States. 1.e Unless you have removed all references to Project Gutenberg, 1.e.1. The following sentence, with active links to, or other immediate access to, the full Project Gutenberg trademark license must appear prominently whenever any copy of a Project Gutenberg trademark work, any work on which the phrase Project Gutenberg appears, or with which the phrase Project Gutenberg is associated, is accessed, displayed, performed, viewed, copied or distributed. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. 1.e.2. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is derived from texts not protected by U.S. copyright law, does not contain a notice indicating that it is posted with permission of the copyright holder, the work can be copied and distributed to anyone in the United States without paying any fees or charges. If you are redistributing or providing access to a work with the phrase Project Gutenberg associated with or appearing on the work, you must comply either with the requirements of paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 or obtain permission for the use of the work and the Project Gutenberg trademark as set forth in paragraphs 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.3. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is posted with the permission of the copyright holder, your use and distribution must comply with both paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 and any additional terms imposed by the copyright holder. Additional terms will be linked to the Project Gutenberg trademark license for all works posted with the permission of the copyright holder found at the beginning of this work. 1.e.4. Do not unlink or detach or remove the full Project Gutenberg trademark license terms from this work, or any files containing a part of this work or any other work associated with Project Gutenberg trademark. 1.e.5. Do not copy, display, perform, distribute or redistribute this electronic work, or any part of this electronic work, without prominently displaying the sentence set forth in paragraph 1.e.1 with active links or immediate access to the full terms of the Project Gutenberg trademark license. 1.e.6. You may convert to and distribute this work in any binary, compressed, marked up, non-proprietary or proprietary form, including any word processing or hypertext form. However, if you provide access to or distribute copies of a Project Gutenberg trademark work in a format other than plain vanilla ASCII or other format used in the official version posted on the official Project Gutenberg trademark website, www.gutenberg.org, you must, at no additional cost, fee, or expense to the user, provide a copy, a means of exporting a copy, or a means of obtaining a copy upon request, of the work in its original plain vanilla ASCII or other form. Any alternate format must include the full Project Gutenberg trademark license as specified in paragraph 1.e.1. 1.e.7. Do not charge a fee for access to, viewing, displaying, performing, copying or distributing any Project Gutenberg trademark works unless you comply with paragraph 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.8. You may charge a reasonable fee for copies of or providing access to or distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works provided that, you pay a royalty fee of 20% of the gross profits you derive from the use of Project Gutenberg trademark works calculated using the method you already use to calculate your applicable taxes. The fee is owed to the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, but he has agreed to donate royalties under this paragraph to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Royalty payments must be paid within 60 days following each date on which you prepare, or are legally required to prepare, your periodic tax returns. Royalty payments should be clearly marked as such and sent to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation at the address specified in Section 4, Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. You provide a full refund of any money paid by a user who notifies you in writing, or by email, within 30 days of receipt that he does not agree to the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license. You must require such a user to return or destroy all copies of the works possessed in a physical medium and discontinue all use of and all access to other copies of Project Gutenberg trademark works. You provide, in accordance with paragraph 1.f.3, a full refund of any money paid for a work or a replacement copy, if a defect in the electronic work is discovered and reported to you within 90 days of receipt of the work. You comply with all other terms of this agreement for free distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark works. 1.e.9. If you wish to charge a fee or distribute a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work or group of works on different terms than are set forth in this agreement, you must obtain permission in writing from the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the manager of the Project Gutenberg trademark. Contact the Foundation as set forth in Section 3 below. 1.f.1.f.1. Project Gutenberg volunteers and employees expend considerable effort to identify, do copyright research on, transcribe and proofread works not protected by U.S. copyright law in creating the Project Gutenberg trademark collection. Despite these efforts, Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, and the medium on which they may be stored, may contain defects, such as, but not limited to, incomplete, inaccurate or corrupt data, transcription errors, a copyright or other intellectual property infringement, a defective or damaged disk or other medium, a computer virus, or computer codes that damage or cannot be read by your equipment. 1.f.2. Limited warranty, disclaimer of damages, except for the right of replacement or refund described in paragraph 1.f.3, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, and any other party distributing a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work under this agreement, disclaim all liability to you for damages, costs, and expenses, including legal fees. You agree that you have no remedies for negligence, strict liability, breach of warranty or breach of contract except those provided in paragraph 1.f.3. You agree that the Foundation, the trademark owner, and any distributor under this agreement will not be liable to you for actual, direct, indirect, consequential, punitive, or incidental damages even if you give notice of the possibility of such damage. 1.f.3. Limited right of replacement or refund. If you discover a defect in this electronic work within 90 days of receiving it, you can receive a refund of the money, if any, you paid for it by sending a written explanation to the person you received the work from. If you received the work on a physical medium, you must return the medium with your written explanation. The person or entity that provided you with the defective work may elect to provide a replacement copy in lieu of a refund. If you received the work electronically, the person or entity providing it to you may choose to give you a second opportunity to receive the work electronically in lieu of a refund. If the second copy is also defective, you may demand a refund in writing without further opportunities to fix the problem. 1.f.4. Except for the limited right of replacement or refund set forth in paragraph 1.f.3, this work is provided to you as is, with no other warranties of any kind, express or implied, including but not limited to warranties of merchantability or fitness for any purpose. 1.f.5. Some states do not allow disclaimers of certain implied warranties or the exclusion or limitation of certain types of damages. If any disclaimer or limitation set forth in this agreement violates the law of the state applicable to this agreement, the agreement shall be interpreted to make the maximum disclaimer or limitation permitted by the applicable state law. The invalidity or unenforceability of any provision of this agreement shall not void the remaining provisions. 1.f.6. Indemnity. You agree to indemnify and hold the foundation, the trademark owner, any agent or employee of the foundation, anyone providing copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in accordance with this agreement, and any volunteers associated with the production, promotion, and distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, harmless from all liability, costs, and expenses, including legal fees, that arise directly or indirectly from any of the following which you do or cause to occur. A. Distribution of this or any Project Gutenberg trademark work. B. Alteration, modification, or additions or deletions to any Project Gutenberg trademark work, and C. Any defect you cause. Section 2. Information about the mission of Project Gutenberg trademark. Project Gutenberg trademark is synonymous with the free distribution of electronic works in formats readable by the widest variety of computers, including obsolete, old, middle-aged, and new computers. It exists because of the efforts of hundreds of volunteers and donations from people in all walks of life. Volunteers and financial support to provide volunteers with the assistance they need are critical to reaching Project Gutenberg trademark's goals and ensuring that the Project Gutenberg trademark collection will remain freely available for generations to come. In 2001, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation was created to provide a secure and permanent future for Project Gutenberg trademark and future generations. To learn more about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation and how your efforts and donations can help, see sections 3 and 4 and the Foundation information page at www.gutenberg.org. Section 3. Information about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation is a non-profit 501(c)(3) educational corporation organized under the laws of the state of Mississippi and granted tax-exempt status by the Internal Revenue Service. The Foundation's IN or Federal Tax Identification Number is 64-6221541. Contributions to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation are tax-deductible to the full extent permitted by U.S. federal laws and your state's laws. The Foundation's business office is located at 809 North 1500 West, Salt Lake City, Utah 841-16808-596-1887. Email contact links and up-to-date contact information can be found at the Foundation's website and official page at www.gutenberg.org/contact. Section 4. Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Project Gutenberg trademark depends upon and cannot survive without widespread public support and donations to carry out its mission of increasing the number of public domain and licensed works that can be freely distributed in machine-readable form accessible by the widest array of equipment, including outdated equipment. Many small donations, $1 to $5,000, are particularly important to maintaining tax-exempt status with the IRS. The Foundation is committed to complying with the laws regulating charities and charitable donations in all 50 states of the United States. Compliance requirements are not uniform and it takes a considerable effort, much paperwork, and many fees to meet and keep up with these requirements. We do not solicit donations in locations where we have not received written confirmation of compliance. To send donations or determine the status of compliance for any particular state, visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. While we cannot and do not solicit contributions from states where we have not met the solicitation requirements, we know of no prohibition against accepting unsolicited donations from donors in such states who approach us with offers to donate. International donations are gratefully accepted, but we cannot make any statements concerning tax treatment of donations received from outside the United States. U.S. laws alone swamp our small staff. Please check the Project Gutenberg web pages for current donation methods and addresses. Donations are accepted in a number of other ways, including checks, online payments, and credit card donations. To donate, please visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. Section 5. General information about Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. Professor Michael S. Hart was the originator of the Project Gutenberg trademark concept of a library of electronic works that could be freely shared with anyone. For 40 years, he produced and distributed Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks with only a loose network of volunteer support. Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks are often created from several printed editions, all of which are confirmed as not protected by copyright in the U.S. unless a copyright notice is included. Thus, we do not necessarily keep ebooks in compliance with any particular paper edition. Most people start at our website, which has the main PG search facility, www.gutenberg.org. This website includes information about Project Gutenberg trademark, including how to make donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, how to help produce our new ebooks, and how to subscribe to our email newsletter to hear about new ebooks. Back. 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 Volume 7. Of the Botanist's Repository. Plate Uchthurseth. Plate Uchthurseth. Plate CCCCXXXV. Plate Ucht30. Plate Ucht30I. Plate Ucht38. Plate Ucht36. Plate CCCCXL. Plate Uxley. Plate Uxley. Plate Uxlyin. Plate Uxliv. Plate CCCCXLV. Plate Uxlv. Plate Uxlei. Plate Uxleiath. Plate Uxlix. Plate CCCCL. Plate Uckley. Plate Ucklei. Plate Uckleath. Plate Uckliv. Plate CCCCLV. Plate Ucklv. Plate Ucklei. Plate Uckleiath. Plate Ucklix. Plate CCCCLX. Plate Ucklesy. Plate Ucklesy. Plate Ucklesyath. Plate Ucklesiv. Plate CCCCLXV. Plate Ucklexy. Plate Ucklexy. Plate Ucklexyath. Plate Ucklesix. Plate CCCCLXX. Plate UCLC. Plate UCLCI. Plate UCLCAth. Plate UCLCIV. Plate CCCCLXXV. Plate UCLCI. Plate UCLCI. Plate UCLCAth. Plate UCL6. Plate CCCCLXXX. Plate UCLCI. Plate UCLCI. Plate UCLCIth. Plate UCLCIV. Plate CCCCLXXXV. Plate UCLCI. Plate UCLCI. Plate UCLCAth. Plate UCL6. Plate CCCCXC. Plate UCSI. Plate UCSCI. Index to the plants contained in Vol. 7 errata. The full Project Gutenberg license.